Hey. There, there we go. Um, I was out here rebooting or cleaning out here. I know it's hard to tell based on that, but there's cleaning going back. There we go. Yeah. Okay, cool. Thank you for verifying that, Anton. Super appreciate it. Oops, let's move this up just a little bit. There we go. So I was out here cleaning yesterday. Again, hard to tell with that mess right there. There's a lot going on that I'm trying to do, and that's just kind of what's left. So while I was doing that, the mini PC that I'm using right now came unplugged, and so I had to power it back on, and then I bumped the thing and it came unplugged, and the power plug on the PC that I'm using right now is garbage, and I hate it. That said, that's its own separate issue. The issue that I'm having, or I was having a minute ago, is the USB interface for this microphone. If the computer shuts off or reboots, the 48 volt phantom power doesn't automatically come back on. Excuse me, that was gross. So even though everything was right here, I had to turn the phantom power back on. So I think I think you guys obviously hear me. This is as good as this is going to look. I apologize for that. It looks like we've got some people over on the YouTube, and that's my wife's doing laundry. I've got the door open. It's going to get real warm today. I may end up opening this door as well, just to let some air go through. And the kid's going to be through here a dozen times or more in the next couple of hours. So just setting expectations as we go. Hey, snack time is here. Sorry, I'm making sure everything is here. So let's. I don't want to give preferential treatment, but Ben from Snack Time is here. We've got Eyes on the World. We've got Aruna. We've got Joel, Anton, Diraj, and yeah. So thank you guys for being here, for chatting. I appreciate that. Believe it or not, just simply saying hi and chatting a little bit can actually help the stream a little bit. So can liking and subscribing if you haven't done that already. I feel like such a douche saying that, but I feel like if you don't, nobody does, and it is what it is. It's just part of the game, I suppose. Yeah. So, dude, Mr. Grey Wolf, thank you so much for that. That was really nice with the 4 tier 1 subscriptions, dude. You rock. That's awesome. So super appreciate that. Ben says you're right. Just a little reminder, and it works. That is something I've always struggled with. Is asking for the like, asking for the subscribe. Like I will say it sometimes, like at the very end, but I'm so bad at kind of like that constant nudge that viewers tend to need. In fact, I've read some people have posted like their subs, their views, their engagement, everything went up a lot because they just every few minutes were like, hey, don't forget to like and subscribe. And like, I've never been that guy. And it's fine. Like people do it. It works for them. But my audience, the audience that I have kind of expects me to not do that. So I'm trying to work on some sort of balance in all kinds of areas here on the channel. And that's kind of why I haven't released a dedicated video in 2 weeks, is because I'm working on a couple that are taking more time than I thought. And I'm kind of excited about them, but it's definitely taking me a little extra time to get those out. And I think I need to go back and do some additional editing on the one I'm almost done with, for a couple of reasons. But yeah, it's like I think they call it asking for the sale. It's tough, but it works. Yeah. Yep, you're not wrong, Ben. Joel says, glad to be here. Well, I'm glad to have you here. Appreciate you guys hanging out on a Saturday when you could probably be doing something else, but here you are. And definitely appreciate that. You guys probably saw, in fact, in the video description, at least over on YouTube. Sorry, I just reread that. Mr. Grey Wolf, again, thank you. the way it came across up on my screen in this ground control made it look like you gave 4 gift subscriptions. I look over here and you've subscribed for 4 months, and I appreciate that just as much. I don't want you to feel guilty because of my inability to pay attention. But no, thank you so much for that subscription for 4 months, Mr. Graywolf. Super appreciate it. Joel says, self-hosting sounds interesting. It absolutely can be. It can also be expensive, and it can be a time suck, and it can be frustrating, and you can build a community around it or become part of a community around it. And that's been my experience, is like all of that stuff. And I've really grown to enjoy it and hate it and love it and all of the emotions a lot of times. But I still do it because I really do enjoy what we're doing here. But Anton says, the moment you start doing the fake cheerful, hey guys, what's up? Hi, don't forget to smash that like button, dude. Yeah, no, I'm with you. Anton, I agree. I really do find that super frustrating and super annoying, because it's not how I talk. It's not how the people I usually engage with talk. I know there's a whole culture of people who do, and that's fine. By culture, I mean younger group of people who do that, and that's fine for them. It's how they talk. It's how their age group works, and I think that's great that they're still communicating at least a little. Luke says, hey, how are you? Do you still use Cloudflare tunnels? I do for right now. I'm actually, the video that I'm almost done with, the video that I've still got a little bit of recording and editing to do on, and a couple of things I want to go back and fix. I'm almost convinced to switch, but I haven't used it enough to be 100% on whether or not I'm going to do that. And I may have to look at other options depending on how a soft. I'll have to do like a kind of a soft switch just to see if it works, and then if it does and it's fine, then I'll do that. And if not, I may have to switch to a different service. Just for some transparency here, the video that I'm almost done with is a new version of the Pangolin video, which is kind of like a self-hosted Cloudflare tunnel. They've come a long way since January. And I'm super excited to be working on a new video, actually in collaboration with them. You'll actually see the developers of Pangolin in my video. So I'm super excited about that, and I think I'm really close to switching fully over to Pangolin. Not that I don't like Cloudflare; they've been great to work with or to use. I suppose I haven't actually worked with them, but I've never had any issues. Like, it's always just worked, and it's that convenience that makes me a bit trepidatious about leaving. But it's why I may do a soft switch first, just to see how it goes. Keep track of some data, that sort of thing. And if it works, great. If not, then I can switch back to Cloudflare. But that is, I'm definitely looking at the potential of switching away from Cloudflare tunnels to a self-hosted solution with Pangolin. And Sinister Spatula, which I still love that name. I play, sorry. So I play Pokemon, the trading card game, the new one that came out recently. Like, our kids got into it. They're like, hey, you guys should get into it. And so I did, and I open a couple of packs every night, and it's whatever. And we share screenshots of our cards back and forth, and it's a way for us to all kind of hang out and chat and that sort of thing, and that's great. But I'm bad about coming up with screen names. Like, all of my online screen names are either my online personality name, DB Tech, or my name, and that's it. Like, I'm bad about coming up with names. So when I see something like Sinister Spatula, absolutely love it. But anyway, I was trying to come up with a name for my Pokemon trading card game app thing that I play every night. And I was just like, I went to a name generator and I was like, give me 5 options. And I was actually waiting for a doctor's appointment when I was doing this. I was in the waiting room waiting for the nurse or the medical assistant to come back or come out and get me to go get my vitals and that sort of thing. And I bust out laughing when I read some of the options. And the one I went with was Donkey Milk. So So if you're ever looking for me on the Pokemon Go trading card game, you can search for Donkey Milk. As it turns out, that's an actual thing that people make cheese from. I did not know that. I learned that after the fact, after I picked my name. It was only then that I learned that that's an actual thing that people produce and use for dairy products. But back to what I was getting at before that, Sinister Spatula says self-hosting is awesome. You get to be in control, not them, and that's why we're here today. We're going to take a look. We're going to talk a little bit about Pocket. Pocket is kind of one of the OG read later apps. They brought it out in 2007. And it's been going strong for like 18 years. And we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. Savog says, hey, everybody. Today I'm watching from the U.S. Is the first time in the middle of the day, not like the EU. Wow. That's really cool. I'm glad you're here. It's cool that you're in the U.S., though I would be apprehensive being from another country coming in right now. But I hope you're all right. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're here for the right reasons. Mental 6666 says it's 7 p.m. here in Sweden. Man, sorry. I'm looking. I got three screens, right? Like I've got the main screen here, and then I've got my production screen over here, and then I've got my screen up here that I can see your guys' messages on. And the screen I'm looking at, my main screen here, gives the right time. It's currently 11:12 a.m. here in Colorado. When I look over at this screen, it says it's 9:37 a.m. And if I look up there, it says it's 8:07 a.m. And that has to do, maybe, yeah, no, that is definitely an app. There's an app that I use for multitask bars and all kinds of stuff, and apparently it has had an issue. Let's see. Oh, Savok says he's on vacation. Yeah. That should be sweat, dude. That is, man, I would be apprehensive to come here on vacation from another country. I just would. I've seen a lot of crazy stuff. And then Ben says the little nano Jetson Nano I picked up is crazy cool. I believe that. I've been interested in those for a long time. I've thought about getting one. But I don't know what I would do with it. I should check out. I know you did a video on it the other day. I watched part of it and then had to go do something else. But I need to finish watching that because, yeah, Home Assistant, right? That's not a terrible idea. I'm still considering. Yeah, you're on Jarvis. What's funny is the Synology that I have back here. I named Jarvis years ago when I got it, and then when I got the Home Assistant PE that it got unplugged while I was messing around over here yesterday, I also decided to call it Jarvis because that was one of the things. But yeah, like I've got Home Assistant running on the HL15 back there, and I've actually been. Sorry, I was reading and I got sidetracked. I've actually considered downgrading. The HL15 is great, but it is so much. My whole rack's using like 350 watts, which isn't much, but it's still a lot more than a lot of other people. And it's not that I have like power usage envy, but this is a lot. And I could probably get away with like my, what is it called? My Zima Cube. Yeah, there it went. It's a Zima Cube. I could probably get away with that and be fine. In fact, I started making that migration a while back, and then I started having connectivity issues, and I think the issue had to do with the M.2 10 gig card that's in it. And I think it was overheating and causing the disconnect issues. But I got frustrated and just unplugged it and walked away because I didn't feel like dealing with it. So yeah, I've actually considered doing a downsize as far as power usage and that sort of thing. Just haven't done it yet. Craig is here. I think this is like one of the very first times you've made it to a live stream, like and not had to necessarily watch the replay. That's awesome. Thanks for hanging for at least a few minutes, Craig. I appreciate that. Ben says the Nano uses 7 to 25 watts. I mean, and 7 idles at watt, or 7 idles at watt. 7 watts at idle's not bad. And 25 under load is actually really not bad. That's pretty good. Yeah, I definitely need to finish watching your video so I can get more information about it, because it seems like a really cool Nano. Yeah, it looks like a really cool little device. God, it's only a couple $100. Interesting. Yeah, I'll need to dig into that a little bit, because that looks like a lot of fun. Let's see. Oh, I need to update that too. Damn it. All right, look, I'm going to do something real quick. Is it this one? I can never remember. Yeah, there it is. Oh man, I'm never gonna find that. It's 2, 3. Man, cannot sort by that. Damn, I really need to fix that. That sucks. I am really awful about that. I always forget about it, even though I shouldn't. Oh, some of it's there. I guess it is there. Oh, it's there until tomorrow. Okay, I need to fix that today so that tomorrow I can have new ones up there. Anywho, sorry. Little side note here, real quick. Last week we did a live stream about a couple of different self-hosted projects, and I was off. I take ownership of that. I was way off last week, and I've been kind of mellowing into this week a little bit, and that's because So the Thursday before our last live stream, I started a new ADHD medication. And I say new, it's new to me. It's the first one I've ever been on. And I very much didn't know what to expect with it. And there's some things about it that I was unprepared for, despite the doctor telling me to expect them. And part of that is because, dude, dry mouth, 100%. I'm actually glad you said that. So the one I'm on, I take at night because it helps me sleep. It slows my brain down, but it also gives me massive dry mouth, like bad. And it makes me sleepy. Like, it makes me sleep. So I was dealing with the new med causing dry mouth, slowing my brain down, and making me sleep, on top of the already the nighttime med I was already using to help me sleep because I have sleep issues. So I had like two things knocking me out, and this one slowing me down after the fact. So last Saturday when we did this, I was zonked out. I'm surprised I made it to like 2 hours that we made it. It's getting better. Like, I'm adjusting. One of the and the reason we went with the one we went with, I'm not on Ritalin or Adderall. I'm on something called guanfacine, and it is I'm on the long release, which has actually been shown to do two things simultaneously, and that's lower blood pressure and help with ADHD, which is a weird couple of things to deal with simultaneously, but it's actually like the perfect med for me. I've actually had to discontinue 3 meds as a result of this one. So that's been interesting. I've also got sleep apnea. I wear the mask every night. Like, I won't sleep without it. Like, even if I've got the opportunity to, I won't. I just sleep better. So it makes you tired in the beginning. This one like, she deliberately told me to take it at night because it will make you tired, and that was kind of what I'm hoping for. If it changes, I've still got the other meds to compensate, but I was able to drop 2 blood pressure meds and a sleep aid in lieu of this guanfacine, and it's been really good. The dry mouth, I've always got water on hand. I've been doing a lot of like lemon water, lime water, same with tea. Lots of fluids to keep me going. I always keep a water bottle with lime water next to the bed at night. Lime water actually seems to help more than just regular water. I'm sure there's a reason for that. I just haven't looked into it. Yeah, I have no desire to stop them abruptly. Mood stabilizer drives my sinuses out. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird the side effects you get from some of this. You can get high blood. Yeah, I believe that. Again, luckily I'm equipped. Like I've already taken my blood pressure a couple of times today. And so like and I know we're not here for this, but I just wanted to get this out. So for the last several years, because of all of my medical conditions, so for the last several years, I've had an issue with my blood pressure, managing my blood pressure because of all of my different medical issues. And the reality is, it's half of it's me. I'm a fatty who doesn't take care of himself, but the medical issues, like they work together in conjunction to make my blood pressure worse. So I've got all of the meds I need to regulate as necessary. But I'm going to do this guanfacine for a couple of weeks. And if things keep going the way they are, I'll have to let my doctors know, like, hey, I've discontinued 3 meds because of this. So yeah, that's kind of where I am at this point. My blood pressure this morning was actually low. Well, yeah, Ritalin raises your blood pressure because it's basically amphetamine. Like, it's an upper. It makes your heart go fast, makes your heart pump faster. And that's one of the reasons they didn't want to put me on Ritalin or Adderall or something like that, is because I've already got heart conditions and I've already got blood pressure issues and all of that. Yeah, so that's kind of, that's why we went with guanfacine over Adderall or Ritalin or whatever. I'm already too speedy as it is. I needed to slow my brain down, and this seems to have done it so far, though it's hard to tell right now, I know. Sorry, I'm looking something up. I'm hoping, man, there's actually a stuff, no, oh yeah, no, I know. I've always got extra meds. Like, I've always got extra bottles of meds in a drawer set aside just in case. And like, my pharmacy's 5 minutes away, and my doctors are super responsive. So if I have an issue, and they are on top of it. Let me try this. YouTube. Oops. Sorry. There's a certain video that I'm looking for on my other channel. There was a product that I used. There it is. Biotin Oral Balance is also a great way to like lubricate your mouth and keep everything moist if water's not working for you. I actually did a video on it 8 years ago. Here, I'll just drop over here real quick. Desktop. Yay, desktop. This video right here, I was so much thinner back then, but I was also just out of the hospital after 6 months of being in there. But biotin is a great way to do some of that. So, oops, sorry about that, guys. Let's see. All right. Oh, geez, Craig. Yeah, get some sleep. Interesting fact: if you're diagnosed with ADHD, you can't be a pilot. Well, I'm glad I never plan on being a pilot. I've always thought it would be interesting to fly a plane, but yeah, no, that's not terribly surprising. You don't want somebody who's up there just, squirreling out to be flying your plane. Yeah, you'd focus better until your dopamine and your serotonin dropped, and you're like, oh, well, let me get on my phone or whatever. Yeah, so that's fun. But yeah, biotin was the thing I was looking for there. Let's see. Yeah, I figured. Oh, I got diagnosed at 42. Yeah, I just got diagnosed a couple of weeks or like a month ago, I guess, at 44. So, yeah. No, it's. I was chatting with my therapist about it the other day, and she was like, "You can't do the whataboutisms or the what if isms and that sort of stuff. Like, well, what if I had been diagnosed earlier? How would I have been different? You can't do that." So, Alexia, I apologize. I wasn't ignoring you earlier when you messaged on Twitch. I saw it, and tangented, and I apologize, Mandy, Alexia. I saw your message and then just it scrolled past, and I apologize. So thank you for hanging out. I super appreciate it. Yeah, meds make the difference. It's really been a huge difference over the last couple of weeks. So, surprised when I saw it. Suspected I might have it, but I don't want. Yeah, I didn't want to find out. Right? No, I get that. Like I always expected that I had it, but it was kind of my superpower up until I got brain damage, and then I couldn't focus as well, and then I was scattered all over the place and couldn't wrangle all of my mental cats, and it was just a disaster. So, yeah, dude, you got it. Like if you want to get it under control and figure out what's going on, you got to make the appointment no matter how much it sucks. I'm not going to try to give you advice and tell you what to do, but it was not COVID related. Good question, but no. Excuse me. So there's a bunch of new people here, which is great. I love that. In 2016, I was hospitalized for almost 6 months. I was put in 4 separate medically induced comas over the course of like the first 5 months that I was there. I was supposed to go, like I started in February. I finally got to a point like towards the end of April where, towards the end of April where I was doing better, and they had me set to go home on May 4th, which I always remember because May the 4th. And that morning, my blood pressure spiked to like 280 over 220. I went into back-to-back grand mal seizures. I had an episode of what's called PRESS, which is a form of encephalopathy. And if you don't know what that is, that's where your brain swells up. And mine did, and they don't know why. They don't know what caused the PRESS. They don't know what caused. Well, the PRESS was caused by the blood pressure, but they don't know what caused the blood pressure spike. When it did, it was probably kidney related. So because of my brain swelling inside my skull, it caused some lesions, and so the last 8 years or so has been my brain trying to rewire itself. Yeah, so. It's interesting. It's been an interesting last several years, because I used to be more put together. I used to be more attentive. I used to be able to do 5 things simultaneously. And now it's like, oh, I'm going to work on this, and I get sidetracked over there because that's in my way. So let's move that and put it over there. Oh, this is a mess. Let's go clean that. Next thing you know, I'm raking the backyard. Not sure how I got there. So yeah, so I finally decided to go get some help. And it's been a couple of weeks. I'm kind of easing my way back into life after dealing with with some of the downsides, but the slowing down I'm not familiar with. Two things up there. I wanted to. Gazwan says, yeah, same here. You get tired of being on overdrive all the time, dude. And that's exactly it. The thing about it is I, especially over the last year or so, I was quick to anger. I was quick to frustration. I was quick to snapping because I was mentally exhausted because I was just going. My brain wouldn't slow down and it was exhausted. So that's, yeah, being on overdrive all the time is brutal. It's so hard. I've noticed that my memory is better. I'm sharper. I'm faster. My wit is a little quicker again, just in the first couple of weeks. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's been going well so far, but we'll see how it continues to go. Snack Time says, isn't it crazy how little doctors know even today? Yeah. Josh Johnson actually did one of his weekly specials that my wife and I watched last night where he talked about exactly that. So yeah, if you're not familiar with Josh Johnson, brilliant comedian. He releases like a 30 to 45 minute stand-up special every week on YouTube. He's also on The Tonight Show. He's also on several, he's all over the place, super funny, super smart, but was actually talking about doctors, and us, how we've got such a medieval understanding of our own bodies, and we're just trying to do our best to stay alive. And he kind of talked about a lot of that, and it was a good time. Alexia says, I had a few times that people would ask if I have ADHD. I don't. Because of all these comments, I don't want. Oh, I don't want to know if I have. Yeah, it's it's interesting. The Yeah, it's yeah. Sorry, I'm reading some other stuff here. My wife's the same way. We'll be trying to do a project, and I find her cleaning the kitchen. Yep. Um, yeah, if there's no problem, there's no need to check it. Yes and no. Don't want to find out. Yeah, I don't blame you. But if you want to get it under control, you got to start somewhere. That sounds bad, tweeting. Yeah, I had some brain damage after COVID again. Nobody had any idea why. Just pneumonia for 6 weeks and then brain fog for 6 months. Really don't recall anything from that time. Yeah, dude, I had something similar happen to me last January, and that was I got. We ended up finding out last January that I had pneumonia, so they admitted me because of all of my other stuff. And while I was there, we also discovered that I had blood clots in my left leg and both of my lungs. So while we were dealing with the pneumonia and the blood clots, then we found out I also caught COVID while I was there because I didn't have it when they registered me in. But a couple of weeks later, while I was still there, I had COVID all of a sudden. So I got it from somebody at the hospital. So I had like three things working against my respiratory system simultaneously. But yeah, the COVID took months for my brain to recover from. It was so much. Like I was slow. I wasn't, it's not that I was like tired. I didn't suffer a lot of the physical stuff that a lot of people did after the fact, but my brain was just cooked. I couldn't keep my thoughts together. It was really, really awful. I think when you're young, you can deal with it, but at this age, it's too much. That's true. And I've noticed, everybody notices this. I'm not unique here. As you get older, it takes longer to recover from injuries, from illnesses, from all this stuff. Like where I was 10 years ago, I would give both of my legs right now to be able to recover as fast as I did 10 years ago. But that's aging, and it sucks. Ben says, you got this. You have a ton of support from the community. And it's easy to see. I agree. I super appreciate that. It's an interesting place for me to be in, because I'm not really much of a social person. Like I can put on a front for a while. Like if I've got to go to an event or I've got to go to a party or whatever, right? I can put on a front for a while, but then my social battery burns out and it takes me a couple of days to recover from. So being able to be part of this community, the self-hosting community, doing the live streams, like the live streams are honestly about half of my social interaction for the week. And that's by design. Like our kids live literally on the other side of this wall. Like I'm in my garage right now, just for point of reference, right? And the other side of that wall is their garage. And then they live in the house attached to that, like the weird old military housing. It was a weird opportunity for them to get in right there. They're coming over Monday for the holiday and whatnot. We go to the store once or twice a week as necessary. We've got neighbors, like we'll be hanging out in the front. We've got neighbors that'll stop and chat, but that's beyond that. I don't have much social battery these days. Let's see. Greetings from Montreal, dude. Peter, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you being here. 47 next month. I feel the older age. Yeah, only got me by a couple of years. I'll be 44 this year. Okay, we're good. Sorry, just the kid's been on a bit of a tangent the last week or so, and I've still got to kind of keep an eye out or an ear out for him. Yeah, whippersnapper. Except that he's 16, about 6 feet tall and 180 pounds. So yeah, no, he's a handful some days. Today he's been great. Little snippy in his own way, but he's been pretty good today. Pretty good yesterday. Day before, thought I was gonna have to trade him in for a puppy, but it's whatever. Social battery recharge is no joke. Yeah, dude, it's rough, and I think part of that, and it's not to be political, right? But I think part of that is true for everybody. Because of COVID, we got so used to just being in our homes for so long and kind of away from people for so long, for months really. And then that slow reintegration never fully happened the way it was prior to all of that. And I think it may be a while before we get back to that point. So, uh, let's see. Did I say 34? I'll be 44 this year. If I said 34, I'm a liar. I meant 44. uh, Metal says 51. Peter says 44 and 47. Yeah. 30. Mandy Alexia is 30, turning 34 this year. That's the year I got sick. I hope your year is better. Howdy from Central Texas, from Chris. Thanks for hanging out. You're just south of me a few hours. Let's see. 45 this year from Zero Linux Official. Well, very, very cool. I'm stoked that you guys are all here hanging out with me. But yeah, let's chat just briefly, if nothing else. We've been at this for like 40 minutes. Peter says 68. Wow, that's crazy. Another 80s kid. Yep, born and raised in the 80s, early 90s. Latchkey kids. Ben, you kind of read my mind there. I was thinking, now I know why you guys are all here, because you're all my age and you don't want to go outside. So I totally get that. Yeah, no, I was a latchkey kid, lived with my grandparents a good chunk of my life. Like, get out of grade school, walk the half a mile home, let myself in, grab a snack, wait for them to get home. Yeah, crazy how far we've come. But let's see. The last 2.5 months should be okay. Glad to hear that, Mandy. I feel the same way. It makes working from home in IT a nightmare sometimes. Yeah. I'm really glad that I've got an opportunity for my wife and I we both effectively work from home, for different reasons. And it works out really well for both of us. Luckily, we actually still really like hanging out together, doing stuff together, going places together, doing nothing together, sending each other memes from the other side of the room all day long. I'm super fortunate to have that relationship with her. My mind is 18 and my body is 75, dude. I get that. I have a kid turning 19 this year. I don't know how the time has gone by so quickly. Yeah. So I said our kids live next door. So I inherited those from her, who she inherited from her previous marriage. It's a weird thing, but like, family is the people you choose, in my opinion. And they're going to be 25 this year. So that's weird. Let's see. 31 from Daraj. Peter says, I know you're getting old when younger people are offering up their seat on the subway. Yeah. So my wife and I, my wife and I will go out. Actually, I should back up. My wife and her daughter will go out, and they'll both get carded. But if my wife and I go out, neither of us get carded. And she brought this to my attention when we went out the other night. And she's like, I just don't understand it. And I just pointed at my face. And it's like, this is not 21. This is not 25. This is not 30. And she had a pretty good laugh about that. So, yeah, I expect that I will somebody will start offering their seats and that sort of thing here pretty soon. Zero Linux says, I recently moved to Glance, much better than homepage. And that's what I love about self-hosting, is there's 100 different dashboards out there depending on what you need. And I know that there's been a lot of talk about Glance lately. I actually did a video on Glance, and when was that? Was it Glance or Glances? It was Glance. About a year ago, back in June of last year. And I think they've come a long ways since then. I should probably take another look at that at some point. I've been using homepage forever. Let me do there we go. Like, I can just show you this real quick. I think, yeah, we're fine. This is mine right now. And it shows me like the kids watching South Park right now. I got some stuff going on over here. I got my speed test, Uptime Kuma, ad blockers. Like, I see all of that. That's all I really need. But here's the thing. Like, this is my homepage. When I open Chrome, this is what I see. This is my homepage. And I only ever use it when I open my Chrome browser. I never actually come here to look at anything. So I don't really have much use for a homepage other than I've had one up for a while, and it just is what it is. Our kid is off to college in 2 months. Jeez. Yeah, no, we're getting old, guys. We're getting old. Eldest daughter was born in 82. So she's a year younger than I am. Crazy, crazy stuff. All right, let's see what. Oh, all right. Well, I tell you what, since I think since I think we're at a point, yeah, let's do this. Let's jump over to here. Sorry, I don't mean to segue, but man, I'm still struggling a little bit. But it'll take a while for everything to balance out. So this is blog.mozilla.org, and this was released 2 days ago. And we're gonna zoom in a little bit here, make it a little easier for you guys to see. Feel free to call me Dad. That's funny. So this is, like I said, blog.mozilla.org, investing in what moves the internet forward. Again, 2 days ago, Firefox is the only major browser not backed by a billionaire, and our independence shapes everything we build. This independence allows us to prioritize building products and tools which shape the future of internet for the better. And it means we have to be intentional about where we invest our time and resources so we can make the biggest impact. And I actually appreciate their take on that, because so many, basically everything out there is backed by a billionaire who has interests somewhere. Let's see. As users' everyday needs evolve alongside with the web itself, it's imperative we focus our efforts on Firefox and building new solutions that give you a real choice, control, and peace of mind. This is really obviously it is, but I really appreciate the way they've worded all of this. I know it's a weird thing to appreciate, but it's really well worded. So it continues with that in mind, we've made the difficult decision to phase out 2 products. So this isn't just what we're here to talk about. They've also phased out something else. We're going to talk about that ever so briefly. So they're going to phase out Pocket, our read it later and content discovery app, and FakeSpot, our browser extension that analyzes the authenticity of online product reviews. So let's actually do that one first, for 2 reasons. One, it's not why we're here. Also, it's getting phased out first. FakeSpot shuts down on July 1st. You'll no longer be able to use FakeSpot extensions, mobile apps, or the website from July 1st, 2025. The FakeSpot feature within Firefox, known as Review Checker, will shut down June 10th, 2025. So we got about 3 weeks left to use that in Firefox before everything shuts down in June, and then further in July. So I appreciate what they're doing, but I tell you, let's read this, and then I want to go back to me for just a minute. Not me, but me. Anyway, whatever, right? Pocket shuts down July 8th of this year. You'll no longer be able to download Pocket or purchase any new Pocket Premium subscription from May 22nd. So again, that was 2 days ago. Premium monthly and annual subscriptions will be canceled automatically. Annual subscribers will receive automatic refunds from July 8th. Users can export saves anytime until October 8th. So I appreciate they're given at least 90 days, roughly. After that, their data will be permanently deleted. API users will no longer be able to transact data read or write over Pocket's API from October 8th, and will need to export their data before this date. For more information, including refund details or premium annual subscriptions and how to export saves, go here. Now, here's the thing. Two things, I suppose. One, though I've made several videos about other apps, other self-hosted apps like Pocket, I've never really, for my own use case, found them to work well in my workflow. Now that said, that could have absolutely been a result of not having the chemical balance in my brain that I'm currently working on getting. That may change. I may find that a read it later style thing may be really good for doing research for a video, or may be really good for any number of things. But up to this point, I personally haven't found it to work well for me. But again, I work differently than a lot of other people, just like you do. But this, like I said, Pocket's been around, I think, since like 2007. Excuse me. So So it's been around for about 18 years. Like it could vote at this point. Like Pocket's been around for like 18 years, if memory serves. When did Mozilla release Pocket? August 2007. Just so you can see that. Yeah, August 2007. So yeah, it's been around for 18 years. And millions and millions and millions of people use it, I'm guessing. I don't know. I haven't actually looked up the data on that. But a lot of people use Pocket because it was the tool that worked for them to do the thing they needed it to do. And that's been great, except that now, again, very much like Google has done with, I don't even know how many apps. Yeah, like there's whole website. Yeah, jeez. Like Killed by Google. These are all products and services that Google has released with their dates of when they started, when they stopped. There's 296 of them in here, according to the little thing up at the top. You know, some of these 16 years, 4 years, 6 years, 8 years. You know, and it's this kind of thing that these companies do that I think is really going to start pushing more and more people into self-hosting. You know, whether it's, you know, oh, in fact, you know what? I didn't even see that. Yeah, right here. Save to Google Chrome extension. Killed almost 7 years ago. Save to Google Chrome extension enabled you to quickly save a page link with image and tag to a Pocket-like app. It was over 2 years old. I didn't deliberately stop there. That was complete happenstance. It's this one right here. But it's these companies, and oh, thank you. Really appreciate that. She brought me tea. The problem is these companies build these applications and these services and that sort of thing that people grow to rely on. You know, and again, using Pocket, and in this case, Save to Google Chrome, or the Save to Google app that Google had, people had become reliant on. I don't want to say dependent, but they relied on these apps to save things so that they could look at them later. And again, that's just one example. Of course, Google's got 296 examples of those things where they had an app, they built it. People got to a point where they were like, I use this app all of the time. And then they're like, oh wait, never mind. We're not gonna support this anymore. In fact, we're gonna go so far as to completely shut it down, and you can't use it anymore. And I think that is going to be what ultimately continues to push people away from services by these big organizations, because they're not able to confidently say, hey, I know if I start using this, it's going to be around for as long as I need it, because we don't know. You know, some of these apps, looking at this Google page, 2 years. You know, some of them I'm sure were even shorter than that. You know, like Calljoy was a year. Google Photos Print, 5 months. You know, and I guess I should be showing you this, but like, you know, some of these are, you know, a year old, 2 years old, 1 year old, 5 months old, 2 years old. And in that time, people jumped in. Google Plus, right? Like, people jumped into these apps thinking, okay, this is going to be the service I'm going to use because it does the thing I want it to do the way I want it to do it. And it's not just Google, it's other companies do this as well. And then all of a sudden the rug gets pulled out from under them, not to use a crypto term, but they get rug pulled on these apps, these services they've been using for months or years. And it's like, okay, well, now what do? I don't have the option to use this anymore, and I don't know what else is out there. I don't know if I can export my data from that service and import it into this other service. And I think this has been the reason that there's been such a big push for self-hosting over the past several years. And again, not to pick on Google, but Google's got, you know, nearly 300 examples of why people are getting more into self-hosting. It's you can't depend on these companies who are building these apps anymore. And what really, really gets me about this is if these companies kept these apps around and just maintained them, the data they could harvest from their users would be more valuable than the cost of continuing to develop the app or continuing to even maintain the app. Maybe they don't even add any new features. They just update the JavaScript libraries every once in a while, or they upgrade their PHP servers every once in a while. The amount of money they could make from harvesting the data and selling it far exceeds the cost of just maintaining the servers those apps run on. And it blows me away that they would rather do that than what they're doing. So I just, I'm gonna, yeah. And I don't understand what the logic is for that. It would still be a revenue generator. It absolutely would be. if only again for the data. Let's see. Bang Bakir said open source, 100%. Flameberg 2K says, I completely agree. Read the idea of self-hosting or the self-hosted expansion. It's the convenience of SaaS that drove us to places like Netflix, YouTube Music, Spotify. Then the corporate messes with the product. Yep, that you're 100% simplifying what I just said. We lived through the golden age of streaming services and online services, which is now over. I agree with that. I agree with that. I mean, we've talked about this in previous live streams, but and other streamers, other content creators. Man, I can't think of what his name is. Dude from New York, real opinionated, fixes circuit boards and computers and whatnot. Damn, I cannot think of his name. Definitely an Italian dude. You guys will probably know who I'm talking about. Still can't think of Louis Rossmann. There we go. I don't know if it was said over here, but it popped into my head. Yeah, Louis Rossmann. Yeah, thank you, Not Sheldon and Fish Frog. Thank you, yeah, for confirming that. Yeah, cost benefit not logical, but we like it, right? It's kind of this idea of, okay, so I go on Amazon, for instance, right? And or on YouTube or wherever, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna buy this movie to watch it whenever I want, which is great until they lose the license to lease you that movie, right? Like I can go and I can buy these things, but really what I'm buying is a license to stream it as long as they have the license to lease it. And that sucks. Like I paid full price, like full retail price for this digital copy of this thing that you're hosting, and now I don't have access to it because you lost your license to stream it. And that's infuriating. And it's, there's the, if buying isn't owning, then pirating isn't stealing. It's kind of, I think, the way that saying goes. And of course I'm paraphrasing there, but yeah, no, you're 100% right. Like the streaming services, the online services, it's all over, man. Like people are going to, I think there's going to be a generation, maybe another generation of people who are still using Netflix or Hulu or whatever, right? I don't know. The only streaming service we have that we use is Spotify. And my wife actually did that years ago, and we just keep doing it because it is super convenient. We've got the family plan, like we've got like us on it and a couple of other, like our kids who literally live next door. Because it's like $20 a month for like 5 seats or something. And it just makes sense. We can we can go on our phones, we can go on our computers, wherever. Our music's just there. And my wife has spent years building her playlists. She just won't give that up. I don't blame her. But I think within a couple of generations, these streaming services are going to more or less have completely shot themselves in the foot. And everybody's going to be self-hosting their own version of that service. Hey, dude, off you go. You got it? Oh, it's locked. You got it? Yeah, you got it. Oh, here, let me get it. Sorry. Let me get that. There you go. Anyway, so yeah, I think it's gonna be. No, leave it. No, it's fine. Go. Thank you. It's actually getting warm in here, so that'll help. So yeah, anyway, I think these companies are shooting themselves in the foot. Oh, they're using our data, but let's be honest, self-hosting isn't logical, but we like it. I mean, logical is relevant, right? It depends on who's doing it and why. Like I don't like I've got ad blockers on my network to block my TVs and all the different devices in my house from reporting back to their mothership. Because it doesn't matter what I'm watching on my Roku TV that I paid for, right? It doesn't matter. So I don't get ads anymore. And I'm sure they're getting some data, but like the things that they recommend up at the top of the screen on all of our Roku TVs has no relevance to anything that anybody in my house watches. So they're just throwing crap at the wall to see what sticks, and we never click it. Like I've got Plex, I've got Hulu, not Hulu, Spotify, and I guess I also have YouTube Premium, but that's because I hate ads and I know what it's like to be a content creator. So I've paid for YouTube Premium for a couple of years now because it's like $12 a month or something, and I don't get ads, and I still get to support the creators that I like. So that's that. Yeah, let's see. Cost benefit not logical, but we like it. Yeah, you own nothing and you'll be happy about it, right? That's it. That's it. And there's the generation of us, I think, that are unhappy about that. That we don't want. If I could go to the store and buy a game like we could not that long ago, and install it and play it and not have to deal with it, that'd be great. But now it's like, oh, well, here's part of a game that's almost done. We'll get to it when we get to it, but here's what you get for $60. You know, like Cyberpunk 2077 did that. They fixed it. They made it way better. It's a great game now. But now everything is like, here's an attempt at something. We'll get to it later. We'll make it better later. And it's so infuriating what companies are doing to us. And I think that's why so many people are, sailing the high seas, so to speak, is because we're tired of being taken advantage of by these companies. And we're tired of relying on companies to provide a service for months or years or whatever, and then having that service taken away with very, very little notice. Now, I will say that Mozilla did give us like 60 days notice. May, June, July. They gave us like 45 days notice, really. But they gave us some notice, and they're like, here's how to export. Like, I feel like Mozilla did this the right way. It sucks that they're stopping what they're doing, but I agree that they have to do what they have to do to make their service the best for the most people. And they've given instructions on how to export, how to do different things to pull your data from them to put it somewhere else. And I really appreciate what they've done there. But they're one of the exceptions, right? Most companies don't do this. They're just like, hey, the service is gone. Go find something else. And that's usually what's going on. Let's see. Balloon and some chips. I'm curious. Oh, so that's... Sorry, not Sheldon says a balloon and some chips. I'm curious. So we got our pool up and running last week, and he's on the severe end of the autism spectrum, nonverbal, constantly fidgeting, flapping, jumping, squeaking, constantly moving, making noise. And he loves flapping balloons, and it's so loud sometimes. And he's constantly eating. Like he just had lunch. That's his snack after lunch. So he was just taking all of that out to the pool and the trampoline to do their stuff. Metal says, I pay for 4K stream, but I get 720p from streaming services. That sucks. I would wonder if that's not your internet or something. I don't know. Let's see. Minifo CZ says, I watch many of your videos. I'm trying to get myself into smart home. Do you think there might be a chance to get in touch with you for time-to-time help, please? The best thing I can say, Minifo or Minifo CZ, is to join the Discord. Looks like you're on YouTube. So in the video description, there should be a link over to all of my social stuff, including Discord down there somewhere. So that's the best way to get in touch with me. I try to explain the fake 4K Netflix to one of, yeah, dude. And in fact, Louis Rossman demonstrated the fake Netflix 4K in a video months ago. It's garbage. I hate them for it. Without streaming and without physical media, would be buy content directly from the studios? That's a good question. I don't know. I think possibly. You know, I think here's the thing. Like if you did like Paramount, if you did like if the actual studios, the production studios, if the production studios did their own streaming services, whether it's Paramount, Fox, I don't even know. I don't watch enough anymore to know. But if the different major studios who own the licenses did their own streaming services, I think it would make more sense than middlemaning everybody with a Netflix or a Hulu or a whatever. I understand that Netflix and Hulu and those also are their own production studios, but when let's say I wanted to watch Friends. I don't like to watch Friends, but just as an example, right? Friends has bounced around to every streaming service that's available from time to time. So if you were somebody who was really interested in watching Friends, you'd have to continually switch which streaming service you're going to watch it, because the studio, the production studio that owns the rights, that's leasing the rights to the streaming service, is looking for the best deal they can get. Who's going to pay them the most money to license that TV show? And hey, no, you're good. Oh, please go right ahead. You got your knife? Yes. All right, good. I know that's a weird question to ask her as she walks through. She's putting dirt in a thing and needs to cut bags. It wasn't just a random like, hey, the kid went out there. You got your knife? So it was a legitimate question. So I don't know. I feel like if the production studios did something better, where they weren't just subleasing their licensing to somebody else, I think people would have a better time online. You know, like if everybody, I don't know. That's just one dumb guy's answer, though. Oh man, Star Citizen, dude. So I can't even talk about Star Citizen. There's somebody in my family who is very, very into Star Citizen and is still convinced that it is not a scam. If you saw some ordinary gamers take on it the other day, they've brought in $800 million over 10 years and still haven't released a game. So not all game devs and publishers are like that. Indies in particular. Yeah, the problem is that Star Citizen is an indie. That was their whole shtick, is like, hey, we're an indie developer and we're not going to do these awful things that these big publishers do. And then they did. But I know most indie developers aren't like that. This one just happens to be. Borg Swarm says, I like maintaining control of my own data and not being beholden to some third-party company who literally does not care about me at all. The more time goes by, the more we become a product. No, not me. Yeah, no, that's kind of what we're talking about here. Minifo or Minifo, I don't know. It says it's already joined Discord. That's awesome. Another one, I'm salty about Evernote. You know, I used Evernote for so many years, and mostly it was for work, just so I could keep notes when I was working on like web projects and that sort of thing. I haven't even touched Evernote in I don't even know how long. One of these days I should actually log in to my Evernote and see if my account even still there. I mean, my password manager says I still have an account. That's fine. Log in. I don't even know the last time I used my Evernote account. I'm genuinely curious. I'm not going to show you guys because I don't know what's in here. But I genuinely have no idea. Made with Love by Bending Spoons? Weird. Yeah, I haven't logged into this in so long. Mozilla has to streamline because they might lose Google funding with this antitrust suit, right? My son is autistic and he absolutely loves pools. One of the reasons we're moving countries, can't have pools in chilly Ireland. Wow. Yeah, no, I haven't. I've never been to Ireland. I've been to Scotland a couple of times, and yeah, I can't imagine having a pool there. I don't. Here, this is interesting. So I said I a minute. Oh, there it goes. Oh, great. I don't care. Wow. I don't think I've touched this since November 16, 2018 was the last time I logged in or did anything with Evernote. That's bonkers. Wow. Anyway, I know side tangent there, but it got brought up. Let's see. Having kids on the spectrum made me realize I'm probably on it as well. It's possible. MGM is a great streaming service. I'm not what it's on though. Oh, MGM Plus, like Paramount Plus. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry, I'm way behind here. I'm catching up. Um, I agree, but hello, how to get rich? Someone needs $1 billion to feel good, dude, right? The problem with each studio having streaming services, right back to the cable TV and all the different dude, aren't we already though? Like, aren't we already back to the cable TV packages with all of the different streaming services that are already there, and everybody jacking their price $3 or $4 every couple of months, and still losing the content we originally signed up for? Like, I don't know, man. And you're right in that idea, but it was kind of the same thing I was thinking as I was saying it, but we're already there anyway. Flameberg says, relicensing. One more issue is that they remove random episodes too. One of the best shows on earth, Always Sunny, has some seasons cut down by 3 or 4 episodes. Right? Why? Because somebody somewhere was like, oh, that thing offended me. And so they're like, oh, well, then I'm not, then we're just going to remove it. F off. Like it was there for a reason. We're there for that content. And it sucks, man. Nighthawk is here. Thanks for hanging out, dude. Appreciate you being here. Chris says Evernote is gone. Let's see. I have like 2 streaming services, but I still use Plex. Yeah. Made an aggregation service, and we get to pick what we want individually. I only want to pay one mega corporation for my entertainment, right? I mean, that would be something. But then, right? Then the FCC, one of those big government agencies, depending on who owned the big company, would have to step in and say, well, that's a monopoly. So we got to split you up, and that, because that's what they're doing with Google, with them owning Google and Chrome and all of the other nonsense. They're like, oh, well, you're too big. We have to split you up. So now you've split us up, or you split them up, and it's this whole, like, it's just, there's no winning. And that's why I think so many people are moving to self-hosting and acquiring their media through whatever means necessary. But Netflix was great for so long. Like I had Netflix from I had Netflix for like 17 years before I canceled it. Like I was getting DVDs back in the day, like 6 DVDs a week, and popping them into my laptop and copying them. But that's not the point. But Netflix was great, and then they weren't, and that sucks. Yeah, FTC, you're right. I have Plex and Jellyfin, and my wife and the boys still use streaming services. My wife likes using Overseer, but I can't get the boys interested. Yeah, I get that. That's and I'm also really bad about setting up the criteria, the requirements on Overseer. As far as like I want it to be, like 4K HDR, 6 channel. Like I want the full package, but I don't want the one that's 80 gigs. Right? Like I'll take a little compression if you can get me down to like 5 to 8 gigs, depending on the movie. So then you got to have like multiple criteria and all kinds of stuff. I'm too lazy to set all that up, Nighthawk, which I absolutely should. But again, too lazy. Mental says I use Netflix since 2010. Yeah, I think I started in like 06 or 07, and then just canceled it a couple of years ago, because every couple of months they were jacking up the price. I'll give the presets you can share. I may take you up on that. When do you think it's reasonable time to think about a rack? When it makes sense. And I know that's an obtuse answer to your legitimate question. here's the thing, right? Like when I first started self-hosting, I had an old PC. It's in a big case, because that's the only extra case I had, um, and so I had that, and I had a couple of Raspberry Pis and a network switch. They were all just kind of like piled on top of each other haphazardly. And one day I was like, screw it, I'm going to do something different here. So I bought a smaller case that computer still fit into, that would fit in a rack, not this rack. It was actually, I think the rack that I've got under my desk right now, it was like a little 7 or 10U rack that I could set everything in neatly and tuck out of the way, so everything was more organized. So it's a matter of, for me, it was a matter of, okay, I've got a little extra money to spend, but also it's kind of getting out of hand, and I don't, like, things just keep getting strewn about. So I needed a place to put it all. And I, 2, 3, I think this is my 4th rack in like 5 years. And not Sheldon brings up another point of, I like the idea of the rack, but I don't have the space. I don't know if you guys can hear him. He's just having a blast on the trampoline. But that's also going to depend on space, right? Like, how much do you have space for a rack? And the rack you get will need to fit that space, but also your stuff. There's so many different things that you can take into consideration there. Look, and some people are doing like 10 and 12 inch racks. You can 3D print a rack at this point. Like there's, it depends on what your needs are. If it makes sense for you, there are lots and lots of different things to consider there. Let's see. If you're a nonprofit type of corporation for the media aggregation idea to work, then yeah, it would. But then what's the point? If they're a nonprofit, then what's the point of doing an aggregation like that? Like, and look, and I'm saying that to play devil's advocate for the sake of the organization that be running it, not making a profit, doing all the work. Hey, Collins is here! Yay! They turn on the sprinkler on the trampoline, and that water's cold. So I think that's his response to that. Again, I don't even know if you guys can hear him when he's out there doing that, but yeah, he's out there having a good old time. Nighthawk says that all my servers stacked on a table for the first 3 years and splurged on a cheap rack last year. Now I want a better one. Yeah, I think I went from a 5 to a 7 to a 10U, and then Techno Tim did a review on this on a rack like this, but I didn't want to deal with what he had. It was a great rack. It's just way overkill for my stuff. And I actually worked out a deal with Sys Racks. Like, I bought it. I dealt with the customer side of things, which I thought was great. And then once I did my review, put it online, a couple of days later, I saw that they had refunded my entire purchase price. So it was kind of cool. But there's so many different ways you can approach a rack. Let's see. Mandy says I have one mini PC and that's good enough for me, and I think that's good enough for most people depending on what they're doing. So what do you think is the best AI for implementation into a smart home? Ollama. I use Ollama. I've got Ollama built or connected to my Home Assistant. We actually did a live stream on that a while back, and then I did a video about it, a follow-up video about it as well. I think I did 2 follow-up videos on that as well. One was just kind of the integration of Ollama and that sort of thing into Home Assistant, but then the first one I think I did before that was where I integrated this in. This is a self-hosted, this is the Home Assistant PE, this is the Home Assistant Voice PE. So it works like a Google Home or an Alexa or something like that, but it's all done locally, and I used Ollama for that, and it's great. I really, really like it. I've got a couple of videos on that. He's and right now, of course, Mom's out there doing her thing, and he's loving watching her. So here's what I'm going to do: shareable link. Oops, don't want to do that. That's one video I did. That is setting up the Ollama, so that's setting up the Home Assistant Voice PE. This one that I'm going to share next is this is setting up Olama and kind of the configuration process that I did with all of that to make it work the way I wanted it to work. So let's see. Yeah, okay, you can't hear it. It sounds like he's having fun. I use my old gaming PC. It's got room for hard drives, which is great. Yeah, absolutely. Olama isn't an LLM. It's a yeah. No, you're right. That's good clarification, Chris. Olama isn't an LLM. It's a platform to load LLMs. You should be looking at a specific LLM that's tailored for home IoT voice home assistant. Yeah, I let's see, home. Let me take a look, because there are some that are specifically developed for home assistant stuff, and I actually didn't have a good time with those. I had a better experience with for my needs anyway. Using Llama 3.2. That's what worked best for me to get the results I was looking for. But there are absolutely, Assist LLM, and there's Home, which is another LLM. There's Home Assistant Advisor, which is another one. I say that because I've installed all of them, and I disabled all of them and just went with this one because that's the one that worked best for my needs. But you got to test out several to see which one works best for you. Yeah, time of his life. Yeah. Let's see, coming here now. What Pocket did? Oh, Pocket's shutting down. After 18 years, Pocket is shutting down. What's LLM? LLM stands for large language model, like Chris said. Yeah. Basically, there's just training. It's just training data that's been configured to do a certain thing a certain way based on certain information that it's been programmed or trained to use. Then it gets packaged into its own LLM, and then we can use it in our own setups and that sort of thing. James says, did you cover that Dig, the new incarnation, wants to save Pocket? That is news to me. Dig wants to save Pocket. Oh, hey, let's take a quick look at that. I didn't even see that come up yesterday. Let's read through that real quick. Desktop, there we go. I love that little transition that this app does. I know it's dumb, but I really enjoy it. Just one day after this is on 9 to 5 Mac, Dig co-founder offers to save Pocket as Mozilla winds it down. Just one day after Mozilla confirms it's shutting down Pocket, Dig co-founder and chairman Kevin Rose has stepped up with a public offer to take it over. In a post on X, Rose tagged both Mozilla and Pocket directly, saying, I guess we'll just allow it once. We love Pocket at Dig. Happy to take over and continue to support your users for years to come. That's brilliant. I didn't know that was a thing. I had no idea that happened. Thank you for sharing. He good out there?
I've never seen you suck this hard at math.
What? Oh, well, I used a calculator online.
It's okay.
And it's going to settle, so, it's not going to settle 10 bags, but, we'll have, it's,
More's better than none.
right. So, she's got this flower bed out there that she wanted to do something with, and I took her measurements, put it into a calculator, and the calculator's like, you need this many cubic feet. So we bought about that many cubic feet, but I don't know if I took into consideration how much stuff we'd put under it. So maybe if it was empty, that would have fixed that problem, because we bought about twice as much as we actually need. And that's not counting the 2 bags we left up front. So let's see. Man, that's really, Mozilla offered. Okay, so sorry, jumping back into this. Mozilla announced Thursday that Pocket will officially shut down. Right. Yep. Dig, in case you missed it, the app is making a comeback with new leadership formed by its co-founder Kevin Rose in partnership with Reddit co-founder Alexis Ohanian, hitting the ground running. Just 2 days ago, they announced that Christian Selig, known for building the new now defunct Apollo app for Reddit, is joining as an advisor. Wow. So Rose and former founder of Reddit are taking it back. Well, I'll be damned. Well, I guess then this live stream's over. What are we even doing here? Of course, I say that as a joke, but only sort of. Okay, that's weird. Somebody's evading a ban there. Um, sorry. There we go. Sorry, I don't get all of the messages or all of the moderator stuff from Twitch up on my screen up here. So I just saw something that happened earlier over here. I think it's fine at this point. But anywho, yep. I love that news. Selig made an absolutely awesome Reddit app, but Reddit's API changes killed it. Glad he found a solid landing place. That's great. Yeah, no, I didn't. I hadn't read that. I should have. I went back to the Mozilla thing yesterday and just read that earlier. But no, I hadn't actually seen. I just hadn't seen this yet. That's crazy. That doesn't really change the point of what we're talking about here, though. Okay, thank you, Alexia. I appreciate you doing that. I got a notification over here that I hadn't seen out of this wide-angle periphery because of the way my monitors are set up, that like somebody was trying to do a ban evade. So thank you. I appreciate you doing that. I really need to get other mods over on Twitch, just because maybe blocking the word yeah, I need to figure out how to do that. I think I'm sure there's a way to do it. I just haven't done it. Yeah, let me do this. We're gonna go over to channel. No, not that channel. Creator dashboard. Content.
Hey,
Man.
it's gonna be okay, I promise.
Settings. Moderation. Blocked terms and phrases. Hey, there we go. Cool. Thanks. That's a good idea. I blocked Streamboo over at my blocked terms and phrases. Good call. Thanks, Lexi. Appreciate it. I'm usually there, but I'm on my phone. Yeah. But you're not a moderator over on Twitch for me. I need to maybe change that. But anyway, despite the co-founders and whatnot, despite Dig and them wanting to save it, it put unsure. It was still a ripple, right? You're not, because I haven't made you one yet. I should, but I just haven't yet. My point is, going back to what we were talking about earlier, is despite Dig and Reddit and whatever wanting to bring it back and save it, or offering to save it, it still puts an unsure feeling about the product out there. I'm sure they're going to do a great job with it, but we never know. There's always going to be a product out there that we want to use. I'm trying to find the right words here, man. There's always that bit of skepticism. Again, going back to, going back to like Killed by Google, like we looked at earlier, and the 296 apps that they have put out into the world for months or years or decades, and then just been like, nah, we're good. And then their users lose that. And I think that's really what's driving people to self-hosting more of these types of apps. I'm stoked that the people who have been using Pocket may not lose it, but at the same time, I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to look somewhere else because they don't want to run the risk. And while Mozilla did a great job of being like, hey, you've got X number of days to export your data, there's nothing to say that that these other guys will do the same thing. They might, but we don't know for sure. So I think there may be a certain level of trepidation by some users that'll just be like, I don't want to run the risk of potentially losing this on a whim, because they realized it was more than they could take on. It was worth, it was more effort than they thought it was going to be. It's costing them more money than they thought it would. So maybe they're only going to take it on for so long. We don't know. Again, I genuinely hope it goes well. And Chris brings up a good point. I don't think it's only the fact that apps are axed. I think it's mostly people wanting to control their own data and not let big companies breach privacy. And that's part of it. I think that's a big part of it. Is when you mix oh, you're going to steal whatever data you can from me for so long and then scrap the product that I'm reliant on. Well, then I'm going to go have my own stuff set up. And then you can't have my data. Now that's not to say that, you know, browsers can't scrape your data their own way, and that sort of thing. But you know, there's always somebody out there trying to steal your data. And that would be a perfect segue into one of those like taking your data offline type sponsorships that I did once, I think last year. Would have been a perfect segue right there. Incogni or one of those, right? But but yeah, I think, and honestly, that's a big part of the reason that I've started self-hosting. Is you know, I got tired of the streaming apps taking away the things I wanted to watch, especially, and I know I'm a unique-ish snowflake here, but when you've got you know a person in your home with with a severe disability who very much fixates on certain shows, who that's their comfort thing. Like my wife and I are the same way. We've got like 3 shows that like they're the shows we watch, depending on what's going on. And all of a sudden you can't get those shows on the platforms you've been subscribed to for years. It's why so many of us are going the way of self-hosting. You know, it's why I've got, AdGuard Home installed with a backup on my network to make sure that the data that when I'm out surfing the web, I'm not getting bombarded with BS ads. The companies are having a harder time, not an impossible time, but a harder time not tracking what I'm doing. Oh, Chris, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you. Thanks for chatting. Really appreciate that. But there's so many of these things that are causing people to want to self-host, their own media server, or they don't want ads. They don't want their data shared as easily. Of course, you log into Facebook and Facebook's tracking everything you're doing on their site, the things you're interacting with. In fact, I was showing my wife earlier. I was kind of doom scrolling on Facebook Reels because I'm 44-ish. And was just clicking through, and I watched, like, I love Christopher Titus's comedy, so I watched a couple of his clips, and there was a shirt ad that came up that interested me, and so I clicked that to go look at the product and realized I was never going to buy it, just because of their website, but then the next like 20 things in a row almost. We're literally Chris Titus, shirt ad, Chris Titus, teeth whitening ad, Chris Titus. And like there came a point where I just started clicking. Like I wasn't watching, like I was just clicking to see what the next one was going to be. And it was Chris Titus t-shirt, Chris Titus teeth whitening, Chris Titus t-shirt, Chris Titus teeth. And it was just like, bro. And they're probably tweaking their algorithm right now. But these services that we are still using are still tracking and marketing to you based on the interactions that you're having inside their application. Like a company reached out to me a while back about a pool robot. Raid Owl recently did a video about a pool robot to like clean and do that sort of thing. He did one last year. Linus did one earlier this year and last year. Company reached out to me and I was like, yeah, I'll take a look at it. We're working out the details on that. But as soon as I went and looked at their website, my wife started getting ads for this company's robots. She may have actually saved me by reading one of the reviews or reading one of the things about it, because the reviews on that company and the robot were bad. So I'm actually reconsidering that whole thing. But because I've got ads blocked on my system, she seems to like getting the ads because she likes seeing what's out there, which is great, whatever. But because now they're just basing it on your IP address, anytime I look at a product, she gets an ad for it. Whereas when I'm scrolling through, I get the most random ads because I use the network ad blocker and she doesn't. So they're just spitting garbage at me. Whereas they're targeting her because of the browsing habits of whoever happens to be on our IP address. It's the weirdest thing. But Let's see. Okay, I physically own the original Charmed series. That's awesome. I've got an old friend who had all of those shows on DVD. He eventually ripped to his home media server. But yeah, and I think he went from like watching them when they were on cable to buying the DVDs to buying the 4K upmastered Blu-rays or whatever. I don't know. I haven't actually talked to him in a long time, but but for me instead, I have no kids. Yeah, that's fair. Charmed is my comfort show, but also acquired the Blu-ray version of the show. There you go. Not Sheldon says we bought a pool robot. They're great. So much less work. Thankful for yeah. Like I really want one, especially I'm really interested in this particular company and their product because somebody built a Home Assistant plugin. Like I'm really interested in that. That was going to be my connection to hey, I made my swimming pool smarter through my home lab via this, right? That was going to be the connection. Because one of the things I see in all of these pool things is here's a cool piece of tech that doesn't really fit into the rest of the channel. And that's not necessarily even a dig on Raid Owl. He dug himself there, in his video that I watched. But even Linus is hey, here's a gadget that doesn't really we don't talk about swimming pools and cleaning robots. but this home assistant integration was going to be that was going to be my clickbait, right? But it's this one specific company, and I don't know. I've only looked up this one company. I don't know, not Sheldon. I don't know which company you've got or which robot from which company you've got. But the company that reached out to me, somebody had built an integration with. And that was how I was going to do it. And the brand manager who reached out to me was stoked about that. But then I had read all of these reviews about how garbage the robots were and how bad the customer service was and all of this. And so I've reached back out to them actually just this morning. And I was like, hey, it's Polaris. I didn't know Polaris made pool robots. Oops, Home Assistant, Polaris. Yeah, you're good. And it looks like there are actually several different integrations available. But anyway, that's interesting. Yeah, Polaris makes everything. That's true. It's a beautiful, dude. It really is. Now that there's nobody out there, maybe I can show you this. I don't want to put my kid on blast. But yeah, oops. Let's do that. Oops, there we go. Desktop. Yeah, there's our backyard right now. Swimming pool, trampoline. We had to get a 4-foot bath so the kid would actually use it and wash his grimy feet before he got in. This is the bedding or the flower bed my wife's working on, with all of the extra soil that should have gone where all of the underlayment is that we put out there. But yeah, that's our backyard we've been working on for the past few years. Really, really enjoy spending time out there. Got a fire pit over here in the top left. But yeah, anyway, that's that. Let's go back to there. You're in Central Virginia. Yeah, I'm in Colorado. Yeah, I'm in Central Colorado. But yeah, let's see. Oh, nope. I'm on the other side of the country. It's raining all day here. It's only a few hours ago it stopped raining. Yeah, I think excuse me. It's supposed to be pretty nice today. But then I think it's gonna fall off tomorrow and Monday, and pretty much all week. We're 72 and partly cloudy, really nice today. But tomorrow, so Sunday, 58 Fahrenheit and thunderstorms. Monday rain, Tuesday rain, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday rain. Never getting above 70 until Friday. So yeah, pretty pretty interesting. So let's see. I would love to live in Colorado. You guys have harsh winters, though. Sort of. The strange thing about where I live in Colorado Springs, which is like an hour-ish south of Denver. We have days that are brutal, negative 20 degrees. And then you tack the wind chill factor on, because I'm at like 6,000 feet in elevation where I'm sitting right now. But we'll have like a week of, like 0 or less. And then the following week will be like 40 degrees for like a week. And I know 40 sounds really cold, especially being in North Carolina. I spent 6 months in Georgia from like August to February. And being there, like we got like a half an inch of snow, maybe a half an inch of snow, and it shut down Augusta, Georgia. So 40 degrees there is very different than 40 degrees here. 40 degrees here is maybe a light jacket. But yeah, no, it's very chaotic weather here. We're about to hit what we call monsoon season, which will be, oh no, you're good. Oh, that's the 10th. That's going to be great. So we'll have like a week of just rain, and then we'll have like 2 weeks in the summer of just like 85 and sunny. I think in the 17 years I've been here, it's hit 100 degrees like maybe twice. Like it rarely ever gets that hot. The humidity is mild. Like it's not dry here necessarily, but it's not North Carolina or Georgia. But I'm from Idaho, which is high desert, and it's friggin' brutal as far as how dry it is there. Let's see. I really need to do yard work this afternoon, then it will be raining. Yeah. I was enjoying my trips to Colorado, and I was able to see some of the winter storms, and I enjoyed them. But one time my flight was canceled. I had to return the next. Yeah. The weather here can be pretty chaotic. And it's, when I say it's 40 degrees, it's actually pretty nice. It's hard to wrap your head around that unless you've been here for a long time. Just because of it's 40 degrees the numbers here don't make sense. So yeah, I love living here. I've been here since like November of 2007. And I just absolutely love it here. In fact, the people who moved me here no longer live here. It's kind of weird. They actually went back to Idaho. So yeah, we'll have to, sorry, I was reading this and my brain switched. Yeah, I love it here. I think the kid's in his room watching TV or something, having a snack. Wife's out there setting something up for him that I think he's going to love. We got him like this little 1 to 2 person tent, so he can hang out here and because he loves to like cocoon up. He likes to nest, and he's gonna love being able to do that out here. Colorado, its temperature plus elevation equals the temperature and how comfortable or miserable it is. Yeah, that's true. But again, it's the miserable weather only lasts a few days, and then it's pretty much back to normal. Or it's normal. Normal's not the right word. It's miserable for a few days, and then it changes, and then it'll be fine for a few days, and it might be miserable the other day or the other way for a few days, and then it goes back to tolerable. But again, it never gets super hot here, and sometimes it gets super cold, but only for a few days at a time. It's very hectic. Like we will literally have, like snow, rain, sun, hail all in one day over the course of like 5 hours. It's pretty chaotic as far as the weather is concerned here, depending on what time of year it is, that sort of thing. The first time I brought my wife down, she was living in Idaho before she moved down here, just like I was, just years later. She came down here in August, and it snowed in August in Colorado, because that's Colorado for you. Let's see. Marco says, greetings from Italy. I've been to Colorado on a vacation a few times. I love your national parks. Yeah, no, it's really cool here. I really, really like it. It's a lot of fun. Being so close to sea level there, I have to wonder if you got elevation sickness, though, just because, going from basically 0 or less than 1,000 to like 5,000 or 6,000 feet in elevation, I have to wonder if you got any sort of elevation sickness while you were here, because that's really, really common. Savag says, I'm in Chicago from last week. The weather here is very nice. Yeah, Chicago is more humid than here, and I think lower elevation. I've been through Chicago a couple of times on my way to somewhere else. I've been to I've been to Chicago. I've been to Chicago O'Hare Airport. Chicago.
I'm really sorry to interrupt.
I know, what's up?
This was wrapped up in the tent I just broke out of fresh plastic.
Let me see that. That's hilarious. So we got a return model that's been returned.
Right, it was literally like in fresh plastic I had to break.
Wow, they repackaged it. That's hilarious. So
Got to the center with the tent stakes and stuff.
that's crazy. So we bought this tent a couple of months ago for when it got nice. We could do the thing that my wife's working on right now. It's just been sitting in a box. She opened it up. She's unpackaging this tent, getting ready to unrolled it for the very first time. TV controller in there, like a Samsung, and not a new one. This is not a new Samsung controller. Like somebody's bummed. Like somebody had to buy a new controller for their TV when they returned to this tent. like what the hell? That's hilarious. Branded TV. Yeah, like it's Samsung. Like that's bonkers. And it's got batteries in it. Like. Oh, it's got a screw. Oh, I tell you what, and the screw's got shmoo in it. So, this has definitely been, this is a used TV remote with the original batteries. That's hilarious. Man, I wish we could leave a review on that. Let's see. Yeah, branded TV remote. Yeah. Nighthawk says, one of the first times I went to Colorado, I was actually in Keystone, and it took me 2 days to get used to the elevation change. Yep. The Docker Compose question for you. Why would a Docker Compose have both an image and a build option? Dude, if I had an answer for that, I've seen it so many times. Oftentimes, I will just remove the build, but if something breaks, I put it back, and that usually fixes it. I don't know. Right? No, you're not crazy, Ben. You're really not. I've seen it several times. In fact, I saw it in something I was looking at. I think for one of the Pocket alternatives I was looking at yesterday or something. In fact, you know what? Let's take a quick look at that. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked over here. I'm fidgeting. Let me do this. I'm gonna come over to here. I want to look at not that that guy's an idiot. Let's see, wallet bag. So I'm popping open some links here. Let's take a look at this because Ben, you bring me back to why we're here, at least a little bit. This is let's see. That compose build. Okay, it was not that one. Docker Compose. It's not this one either. There was definitely one that I was looking at that had both, it wasn't that one. Man, was it Shiori? I know I saw one recently, and I kind of had that same thing. Shiori, this is build. You need the Docker file, so it wasn't this. There's no image in that. I feel like I saw it, but maybe my drugs are doing other things to me. Maybe I'm just making stuff up. I know I've seen it recently, so you're not crazy, Ben. Marco says the family atmosphere of this live is amazing. I appreciate that. Basically everything we do here is pretty on the fly. It's pretty spontaneous. I mean, I try to stick to consistency with when I do them. So I'm just trying to put this screw back in here, and it's fighting me. And then I can quit fidgeting with it. Hey.
You don't mind.
I promise she doesn't usually abuse me. This is just one of those special moments, and I'm glad you all got to witness it. Man, there we go.
Did you?
No, but it was within like a foot. It's all right. Anyway, okay, screws back in there. I can set that aside and leave it alone. Yeah, no, Ben, I've absolutely seen it too, and most of the time I remove it, and it's usually fine. If it's not, I put it back, and then it works, and it does what it needs to do. I don't know why. .com. Oh, it wasn't. I was showing you my screen over here. You couldn't see it. Fair enough. Let's ask Gemini. Why would a Docker Compose have both an image and a damn, if I could type build command. Oh, here you go. When using build Docker Compose will fill. Okay, great. That doesn't really. Yeah. Okay. The image allows you to explicitly name and tag the image that results from the build process. This is incredibly useful. Oh, okay. So maybe there actually is a reason for that. The image field allows you to explicitly name and tag the image that results from the build process. Yeah, well, when you see that build command, you basically have to clone the repository to also have the Docker file in there to do the build, and then it names the resulting thing from that. But what I've noticed in those situations is that looking at this Docker Compose again, just for the sake of whatever, like using, for example, let's say that there was an image or a build command in there. You can also just go grab this image from, like, say, hub.docker.com or whatever. And it's just that I don't like Gemini's response to that. I don't think it's true, or not entirely true. GitHub used to have the build option, but I recently removed it after testing, and it still worked. And I deployed it using Portainer. Yeah, environment variable during. My thinking is that they want to use the environment variable during the build process, but you don't need a build command to use an environment variable. Like you can remove all of these lines and still use the environment stuff down here. So I don't know. But yeah, and it sounds like Nighthawk has had a similar result to what I was talking about earlier. So maybe they just added the image after they built it and pushed it to, whether it's GitHub or Docker or whatever, and maybe they just didn't remove the build command. That's really the only thing I can figure would be, yeah, maybe they just didn't take it out. Yeah, that's the only thing I can figure. What's up? A hammer?
I have to cross in the back.
I'll grab it. She doesn't like to be on camera, so hold on.
If I wasn't 7/10 backyard, it might not be so bad.
Anyway, there we go. Yeah, no, it was a good question, Ben. Because like I said, I've seen it before, and I've never actually understood it either. And it sounds like other people have had a similar experience to me. So that's good, I guess. Oh, hey, we got Robbie Rock Games followed. I appreciate that. Not Sheldon says, I understand. I also don't like being on camera. Yeah. She's been on camera with me in the past, but I know it makes her uncomfortable, so I try to accommodate when I can. And in fairness, I didn't like being on camera for a long time either. And then I found out I could make money being on camera, and I was like, oh, let's do that. So here we are. Also, since we're going to do that, if you guys are Amazon Prime subscribers and would like to attach your Twitch to your Amazon Prime, you can actually subscribe to my Twitch account via Amazon Prime, and it doesn't cost you anything, and I may make like $1.50. So you can do that and support that way. Oh, hey, he's dressed. We did it. Thanks for all the support. 10 out of 10. I don't know what just happened there.
For you. Is that pretty cool? That was epic timing.
Yep. Apparently she just literally put the stakes in and he walked out to he uses a phone to communicate with us, and he came out to ask her probably for a new show or something.
Swimming pool.
Oh, swimming pool, and then immediately changed his mind is in the tent. That's really funny.
In the pool.
That's
Hey, keep your words inside.
yeah, and change your clothes.
I'll keep working on your tent.
I wish he had waited so we could have got that on camera for
Right,
later.
that was an adorable reaction.
But that's
Like,
great.
sprang it on me there.
That's great. On the other hand, the kid that just went through, dude, he loves being on camera. Like he loves to like see himself and like it's like this. It's kind of like self-realization almost of like, if I do this, that does this, and he recognizes himself obviously, but he loves seeing himself on camera. So yeah, he doesn't care if he has to go through and be on camera, but.
Well, if he notices himself, he'll stop.
Oh yeah, like she just said, if he notices himself, he'll stop. he loves to see himself on camera. So we do a lot of his. We do some of his medical appointments online, telehealth, that sort of thing. And all we have to do is just show him that there's a camera, and he'll just hang out and like flap and watch himself so the doctors can see him. It actually works out to our benefit in that case. So, let me go back to here. If you're here because you're interested in the possibility of self-hosting your own, really, I can't do that, your own, your own instance of a Pocket alternative, I've made videos on a few of them. And of course, if I had been smart, I would have put them in the description of this video, and I may go back and add them later. Like Wallabag, I know we've made a video on. I've got the link to that GitHub repository in the video description. Off he goes. I don't know how he got that snack.
I got it.
Oh, okay.
I am just that good.
Okay, cool. Anyway, so like I know I've made a video on Wallabag. And again, like I will try to go back and try to remember to put the links to all of the videos in the video description after the fact. Maybe I'll just do it now. Well, let's I can't really do that. I don't want to run the risk of YouTube being mad at me for showing you stuff. Sometimes, man, YouTube really frustrates me sometimes. So let's do this. Let's do Wallabag. Ooh, that's been 4 years. Man, maybe it's been 4 years since I did my Wallabag video. Maybe my video. Bag tutorial. Sorry, I really should have done this ahead of time, and I didn't, and I suck. Oops, like that. I haven't done Omnivore. Carrot Keep is great. Carrot Keep is. It used to be called Hoarder. The Great Flying Benjamin, thank you for that Prime subscription. Really appreciate that. Yeah, no, that's great. We've got 11 people on Twitch. That's amazing. Like that's really cool. I think this might almost be a new record over on Twitch. Oh, that's your Twitch account. Well, thanks, Ben. Appreciate it. So let's see. So like I said, I know we've done a video on Wallabag. I should probably revisit that because it's been 4 years. Let's see, new record hype. Oh, right. Hey, it really is. Like that wasn't you being pedantic or anything. That's freaking great. Thank you guys so much. But I should probably revisit Wallabag. Anyway, Carrot Keep is the new name of Hoarder. The dude that made Carrot Keep, unfortunately, like was being potentially sued for like copyright infringement or something, as a result of, I don't even have that in there. because his name was too close to their name. And it's just weird. And it was super frustrating. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do hoarder / Karakeep tutorial. Sorry, I'm adding this here as well. We've got link warden that I need to add here. Link warden. That one's a couple of years old. I should probably revisit that one at some point. I want to make sure I get the right one. That's the right one. Copy link address. Link. Wow, I was way off on that. Link warden. Tutorial. Let's space these out a little bit more. Holy crap. And I think I also did one on LinkedIn. LinkedIn. I have not done one on LinkedIn unless they changed their name. Anyway, the video now has, the live stream now has links to previous tutorials that I've done on some of these Pocket alternatives. But it looks like I need to make some other videos here. It looks like I need to, actually I need to do, let me do Karakeep. That's this. And in fact, I need to update that entirely now. Karakeep is there. Damn it. Come on. There we go. There we go. That's better. Let's see. Yeah, I need to do some more videos on this. And not necessarily like if the guys at Reddit and Dig or whatever are going to save Pocket, that's cool. But I should probably take a look at some of these others anyway, because it's still fairly relevant to what's going on right now. No, excuse me. Practical IT with Jeremy. Dude, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you being here. Says he's been using LinkedIn for a while now. I'm pretty happy with it. Yeah, I haven't. Where is it? LinkedIn. There it is. Interesting. .env file. Wow. Okay. Whew. Interesting. So I'm looking at. All right. So here we are. This is the LinkedIn GitHub repository, and this is, of course, their Docker Compose here, which may be a little difficult to read until I do that. So we've got we've got all of these things in here that rely on this env file, and something I'm noticing. If I come back over to the env example or sample file here, we've got all these things in that we can do. So we can do username, password, background tasks. So we can name all of this stuff. Can be SQLite or Postgres. Interesting. It would be nice if they had in their Postgres, or if they had in their Docker Compose. It would be nice if they had included that in their Docker Compose for the Postgres stuff. Sorry, there's a lot of things happening simultaneously that broke my brain for a minute. It would have been nice if they'd included that as an optional thing. What are we talking about over here? Pocket. Yeah, so this actually came out yesterday and was unaware of it. To talk or to answer Gonkal's question there, Pocket's being saved. Can you tell me more about it? Dig co-founder offers to save Pocket and apparently they're working with allow once. There we go. So the founder of Dig is also apparently working with they announced the Christian. Okay, so Christian Selig made the Apollo app for Reddit, who is apparently also joining as an advisor to Dig. So Dig and this app creator for Reddit, who can't use that app anymore because of API things, have been like, hey, we'd like to take over and keep doing their thing. Like, we'd love Pocket over here at Dig. Happy to take over and continue to support your users for years to come. This was actually shortly after the release of the initial information. I don't spend a lot of time over there on this particular website, so I hadn't seen that. Luckily, Jay Collins mentioned it in chat earlier that that this had happened, and then I Googled it, and there it is on 9 to 5 Mac. I should do this real quick. So there's that, just if you want to take a look at it. Of course, there's more information out about it right now, but there's that if you want to take a look at it. But yeah, it sounds like it's entirely possible. This person said, "Gotta say the new dig is sounding better and better in concept, and Reddit is overdue for disruption. Really hoping this turns out the way it's shaping up. That's great." Yeah, so it doesn't necessarily completely disqualify this live stream for talking about why people are self-hosting, and taking a look at sort of some of these different apps that we've taken a look at as alternatives to these third-party companies. Like this one uses an env file. We've actually we did a video on Link Warden not too long ago. Shiori, I guess. This one gives me pause because it looks like it hasn't been touched in a while. And then also I feel like latest announcements. Yeah, like they haven't touched this in a while. So I don't know if I would go so far as to say that Shiori is a good option, just because. Oh, all right. Just because they haven't touched it in a while, 2 months ago, 5 months ago. Look, we've absolutely looked at projects that hadn't been touched in longer, but it's not great practice. LinkedIn, we took a look at that Docker Compose a second ago. That's the same one. Omnivore. Jay Collins actually brought my attention to this yesterday. They've been doing updates on this fairly recently. I mean, some of these not so much, but sorry, something stuck in my throat there. 3 months ago there on that. There was 3 weeks ago on packages, but like their omnivore.app URL doesn't work anymore. So like let's do porkbun.com. So I just want to see. It's registered, so that's interesting. So they still have access to the domain likely, but for some reason their website's down. And this one hasn't been touched in a few months to a few years as well. So maybe we won't take a look at that one. So we looked at this one recently. Karakeep used to be called Hoarder. But again, yeah, Karakeep, previously Hoarder, is a self-hosted bookmark everything app. There is AI built into this one. Let me rephrase that. There is AI accessible in this one. However, it's not required, so you don't have to. And in fact, I think with this, you can even use Ollama in that. Let's see. Docker Compose last month. So they've got Karakeep there. Chrome Mealy Search. OpenAI Key. Maybe this one doesn't allow you to use Ollama on it. I feel like there was one that we took a look at. Maybe was it Link Warden? AI. Oh, that's Ollama. No, I feel like there was one of these that we looked at that had the option to include or to use your own Ollama setup. ENV example. This is all Mealy Search and Next Auth. Yeah, I don't remember which one it was. But there are several out there, and it looks like really at this point, I think we're down to like 3 that are still being moderately actively maintained. Again, like this one is being, the new version of Karakeep allows it possibly. It's Wallabag. Compose build. This is Chrome. Mealy Search. Like there were the one I saw in here a minute ago. That's for the build. Dev. Chrome. Yeah, there's an OpenAI key here, but I don't see anything with Link. Oh, it is Link Warden. You can tie your own Llama service to do AI tagging. I recently enabled this, so I wouldn't have to manually tag. So it is Link Warden. Interesting. So Nighthawk, do you do that in like in the dashboard, or do you do that in the Docker Compose? Because I didn't see it in the Docker Compose. They've also got apps for Android and iOS, an Android client for Link Warden. So there are different ways you can interact with it on your mobile. Lots of contributors. That's amazing. I didn't see it in the Docker Compose. Link Warden, database, env file, env file. Let's go look at the env sample again. Database. Oh, I didn't look at this. Oh, here we go. Next public Llama endpoint URL right there, and the model right there. Oh, it can be done through the UI because this one, like, damn it, he's having so much fun out there. Because this one also allows us to use OpenAI or OLlama right here in this. But I am also glad to know that we can do it through the UI, because I sometimes often prefer to do it through the UI because I'm like that. Rasby, I hope I got that right. Says good afternoon. Hope everyone's doing well. I think we're all doing pretty well. I can't speak for everyone, but I'm doing all right. A little more amped up today than I expected to be given the meds, but doing all right. There's a bunch of different things in here for proxy settings. Man, that's crazy. Lots and lots of you can scrape stuff from all kinds of places in here. Holy cow. I don't know if all of this was available when I did my video. I mean, I know some of it was, but holy cow, there's a lot of stuff in here. LinkedIn, MailChimp, MailRU, Naver, Netlify, Okta, whatever. One login. Oh, this is all. Wow, this is all for login stuff. Holy cow. Wow. But there's Spotify. God, is this all for like SSO? This all can't be SSO, right? Like, are people logging in with FreshBooks or Spotify? Like, that's weird. Twitch, VK, Zoom. Like, is all of this SSO? Single sign-on? Like, is that what all of this is? That's bonkers. Or is it just integrating for other things? Really curious about that. I may have to do another another like deep dive on this just to see, because it's been a while since I took a look at Link Warden. But that's really cool. And they're still very actively, like this was 2 days ago, to fix something in their logo, but still they're doing stuff with it, recently, 2 days ago, 3 weeks ago, 2 years ago, last year, last month, 4 months. Yeah, like they're actively working on this stuff, and I really love seeing that. Just because there's so many times that these great apps again, and it happens on the open source side too, where an app will get developed and then all of a sudden they can't continue developing it for whatever personal reason in these open source apps, and then all of a sudden, like the app here you like goes away. But there's 62 contributors on this, which gives me a lot more hope that something like this would stay in practice or in production. Nighthawk says, I think that is for data scraping for auto import links when something new comes out. That's fair. One thing that's important for me is the import export feature. I want to import stuff from Pocket, and I also don't want to be locked into future. Yeah. Yeah, I think these options are coming because devs expect an influx of users. Yeah. I think that's probably very true. Let's come over here. Apparently you can, let's see features. Everything you love in one place. Great. Oh yeah, auto preserve web page content. There you go. So that's what all of those API connects were. Share and collaborate with others. Import export. You can import and export your bookmarks easily from the settings, but I don't know. What is this? Link Warden import Pocket. I don't know. Due to this, I'm stuck importing HTML bookmark files, which is roughly 25 megabytes. Um, the reason it's hard coded is I really didn't think somebody would really exceed the limit. If I recall correctly, 10 megabyte files will tens of thousands of links. Yeah. Okay, so it looks like Link Warden currently has import for Wallabag and Omnivore. Interesting. All right. No pocket option, at least from my end. Okay, and that's good to know. Again, this was a quick search, but apparently there is Pocket to Link Warden that was updated or that was created 3 weeks ago. Convert your Pocket bookmarks export to a Link Warden compatible HTML file. Well, there you go. If you guys are interested in that, I'll share this in both places, just so that it's easier for you guys to see. It looks like that tool might work. I don't know. So that's an interesting thing that might work if you wanted to go that route. Let's see. Convert this. Go to Pocket. Click Export File. Will automatically send you a CSV file, which is not compatible with Link Warden. Okay. Once you use the download link, they send you unzip the Pocket folder. It should look like something like this. If you have UV installed, you can then simply run that. Where the file name in this case is part, and then you can optionally specify an output file with -o. Once your bookmarks.html file has been generated, navigate to Link Warden settings and select from bookmarks HTML option. So in the interim, this is great. Maybe these guys will work with the other guys and make that work. That would be very cool. But again, I think it's very cool that people are doing things like this. Like, these guys don't appear to be attached to Link Warden at all. Nope. Not at all attached to Link Warden, but it was like, hey, I can do something to help. And they did, and that's awesome. That's really cool. That's what I love about the self-hosting and development communities, is they're like, hey, I see an issue here that somebody else might have, so let me build a tool that will help that happen. That's great. And that was just, they contributed 7 commits and 3 repositories so far this month. That's awesome. Yeah, and they did this in May. Earlier this month, they did that. That's really, really cool. I'm really, I love the self-hosting community. It's like, hey, I've got a problem. Let me build a solution and then share it with other people. It's the sharing part that really, really makes me happy. I didn't mean to share that page with you, though. That was not intentional at all. Didn't want to share that at all. But yeah, no, I think that's very, very cool. So I hope that the folks over at Link Warden are able to get that implemented, or work with this other developer to implement his solution. I don't know how that would work, but no, I think that's great. Let's see, man. All right. Okay, that was old. We looked at that. So, man, I don't know. I think it's entirely possible as a result of this back and forth on Pocket. Man, I blanked for a second. I may have to start wrapping this up soon. I think because of the stuff that's going on with Pocket, that there may be more apps like this coming soon. We've taken a look at a couple here. I've made tutorials on a few. There are others that are kind of there, but not really, or haven't been touched in a long time. And I kind of hope that this will encourage other developers to either take over those projects, fork those projects, start working on those projects again, or come up with their own solution. And not because Pocket's going away, because it might not be, but because you never know when the third-party service you're using is going to get shut down when you've got years of your life put into it. So I hope this does. Honestly, I hope, despite the issue that this is going to cause for non-self-hosters, this may also be an opportunity for people who aren't self-hosting to consider self-hosting, because you just never know what's going to happen. You never know how your data is being used. You never know. And I think that's one of the big reasons, like we've talked about, that so many people self-host these days, is because you just never know. Yeah, I think that's kind of where everything is at this point, is you just never know. So you got to take control of your data. You got to take control of your privacy. You got to take control of as much as you possibly can for as long as you can. because we never know how long we're going to have access to our data and our privacy. So there you go. Make sure I didn't miss anything over here, like I do so very, very often. If you haven't already, and you feel the urge, you can click the like button over on the YouTube stream. I know Twitch doesn't have that, but oh, hey, neat. The rug I ordered yesterday to be here this morning was just delivered, so that's something. Yeah, and Borgstorm says, I think the trick for new people moving to self-hosting is to make sure that they're taking the needed steps for a solid backup. I agree, and that's kind of a chicken and egg kind of situation, right? Like putting in the proper infrastructure to make sure that your self-hosted services are going to work and you've got a solid backup in place is a lot to take on all at once. And there are solutions that make that easier with, say, like Proxmox, where you can have Proxmox and a Proxmox backup server that facilitates all of that. But if you're not tech savvy, that's even more to try to understand. Like, what is Proxmox and why should I use that over something else? Why would I use that over Open Media Vault? How do I install Open Media Vault? How do I install? And I think that's a really good point. You need to have that backup solution, and that's kicked me in the butt a few times. But now I use Proxmox with Proxmox backup, and it works well for me. But not everybody has the resources as far as hardware is concerned. They don't have companies being like, hey, we've got this new thing we want you to look at, and then I'm able to use that. Like, not everybody has that. I know that I'm in a very fortunate position in a lot of that, to be able to reach out to a company and be like, hey, I've got this problem, and I think your product will fix that.
Super sneaky.
Oh yeah, you are. You're good. And trying to convince people to have a good backup solution is difficult. I know somebody personally whose entire life, their job, their everything is on their computer, and their computer was very old, and it recently crashed on them. Their single hard drive with all of their data was an SSD, crashed, doesn't work anymore. He's having to send it off for data recovery, but wasn't able to do his job because he's self-employed and didn't have a backup of any of his data. And he's learning the hard way that having a backup of your data is super, super, super important, especially when your job, your livelihood, your pictures, your memories, when all of that is on, is on, one of these or a couple of these. That one's really old. Holy crap. December 21st of 2016. Huh. It's a 1 terabyte spinning Rust. Yeah, no, he is learning the hard way that the backups are important. And he's got a new system, but I don't know if he's got any backups in place for that. I don't know if he's learned his lesson on that. Sorry, talking a lot makes my throat go weird. So I hope he's learned his lesson, but I can't say 100% that he has. And that's we'll see what happens. But yeah, no, backups are super important. And I've made a few videos about backups, both in Open Media Vault and in Proxmox. But I know not everybody uses either of those solutions. There are other solutions being used, whether it's Zima OS or Casa OS, whether it's TP or what. There's so many of them out there that are great platforms that don't necessarily have backups as a priority. So getting into self-hosting, I don't know, maybe let's take a quick look. Let's see, Zima OS backup. Let's look over here. Back up your data in sync, right? So John Guan, he's the main dude behind it. Sync thing. So we're talking about different ways that you can using Zima Word and Sync thing, and they talk about some of this stuff. But do they adding remote devices? This is like synchronizing your phone or whatever to this device. But what about like a remote backup, right? And I'm not trying to dog on Zima because they're great. This one is talking about how to, what did it say there? This tutorial will guide you on how to switch to the backup partition when there's a problem with your system. But that doesn't necessarily restore your apps or the data therein. And they go through this process of recovering your operating system, but not necessarily the data in your Docker containers. And again, I'm not dogging on them. This was just the first thing that we looked up. I see TP backup and restore. Here we go. When changing your hardware and network infrastructures, it's sometimes necessary to migrate your install to a new device. You can do the following. Following steps. On your first server, navigate to the run TP folder and run stop TP, do that. Cool. But that's just migrating from one piece of hardware to another. That doesn't necessarily talk about how to, this might make sure you have Docker installed on your second server before starting run TP as an easy way to do this. That might be an okay way to do it. I really would like a non-big tech solution to back up my data to a VPS or the cloud. And you could use something like they talked about over on Zima, with SyncThing. SyncThing can do that. There are other solutions like SyncThing that will allow you to, hit, like a remote Minio instance or something like that. But it's there's not a lot of content. Maybe I should be making content about that. Maybe that's a good idea. Yeah, rsync, that's the other one. Yeah, no, you're right. Check rsync. Rsync's the other one I couldn't think of. So Goncalv, thank you for doing that. You're absolutely right. That's a really good one to use as well. They'll give you the opportunity to do that. It's just a matter of it's not only backing up your data at that point though, right? Because you can back up all of your data and it's out there on that VPS, but then if your local device crashes and you have to restore it, that's a completely different process to just pushing the data somewhere else, right? You have to have all of your Docker Compose files, if that's what you're doing, and redeploy all of those to the same locations that you've got on from your older hardware to your new hardware, like the same paths, not necessarily the same hard drives, but the same paths on there, or adjust the Docker Composes to do the thing, but then also restore that data that you backed up to the VPS to where it's meant to be on the new hardware. And that's a whole process in and of itself that I demonstrated in an old video on Open Media Vault. Let's see, OMV backup. OMV, let's do restore. Backup. Yeah, that one. So I think it must have been Open Media Vault 6 or something where I talked about doing a backup and a restore, because you're not backing up your apps. You're backing up the data for those apps. And that I was confused about that for a long time. So you back up the data for your apps somewhere else. And then you install all of those containers again on the new hardware. And then you stop them all. And then you restore all of that old data to the new hardware. And then you start them all back up. And then they come back online as though they never went down. And that's a weird mentality to be in, that you're not restoring the apps, you're restoring the app data. And that took me a while to convince myself to remember. So that's, and again, I'm fairly technically savvy, but not everyone is. SyncThing is pretty powerful. I also use rsync a few times to copy data. Yeah, like I actually used to use rsync to back up my phone before I had, or before I started using the Synology backup app or the Synology Photos app on my phone. I only care about my photos and videos. Everything else is backed up different ways, mostly through Google. But it's just like my email and my contacts. Everything else I don't care about. So, so if I had to right now remotely wipe my phone, I think there's one app that would cause me a lot of pain. But other than that, it's a non-issue. I could just wipe my phone and walk away and be fine. But again, there's that one app that would cause me some issues. So, and that's only because of the security that's on it. It's one of my security apps that's only allowed to be installed in one place at a time. And I often would need to pull data from that to move it without, anyway, it's a whole thing. But yeah, so I hope that as more and more of these companies, as more and more companies keep doing what they're doing, I hope that more and more people start seeing that, oh, like I could pick up, well, I don't have one over here. A mini PC, not necessarily this one. I mean, this one's great. I'm actually having to RMA this sort of, but you can pick up an N100 mini PC, or an N150 or maybe an N200. I think that's a thing, and host your own DNS ad blocker and your own whatever on the cheap, and maintain your data, maintain your privacy, and not have to worry about when the next company is going to do, going to pull a dick move and harvest your data, sell your data, or shut down their service with your data on it. So I hope that more and more people start to realize why self-hosting is important. Okay, I've got about 50 of you here right now between Twitch and YouTube. So I've been honestly for a while now, and I kind of feel like maybe I'm starting to get back into a better place where I might be able to do it. I think one of the biggest issues with the way I present my content, besides talking too fast, and I'm literally actively working on that in the 2 videos I'm working on right now, is that I make the assumption that the people who are watching my content have some sort of understanding of technology, that have some sort of understanding about Docker and some sort of understanding of like self-hosting, right? Like even in the video that I'm working on, almost done with right now, I say in there, like, this video isn't going to explain Docker. This video expects that you have some sort of understanding about how Docker works. And I encourage you to understand how Docker works before installing this application for a lot of different reasons. And I kind of explain that. But there's a whole crowd of people out there who don't know what self-hosting is, or how to do self-hosting, or that self-hosting is even a thing. And I feel like I would like to take a step back and really go back to, like taking a look. And again, not necessarily this is a $600 mini PC, but finding an inexpensive mini PC that's a couple $100, throwing a couple of hard drives in it if that's available, and showing that you can start doing this very inexpensively. Now, the problem with that is that my audience, for the most part, right, not all of them, but a big chunk of my audience is ahead of that. We're kind of past that. And I'm not trying to talk down to people who are just getting into self-hosting. But there's a lot of people out there who I think are going to start getting into self-hosting here soon, as a result of all of this data issues, availability of content issues, all of the issues that we've talked about through this live stream and several others in the past. And part of me thinks that I need to do a series of content about starting from the beginning. The problem with that is that there are 93,000 of you guys subscribed to this channel. And I know a lot of those, probably a good chunk of those are dead accounts or accounts who don't watch my content anymore or only watch certain videos, right? But the people who are subscribed to this channel are fairly confident with self-hosting. They're fairly confident with Docker or Portainer or Proxmox or Zima or whatever. But I think there's a huge chunk out there, and I don't want to alienate those people, right? I don't want to alienate the people who've already got a server rack like this one, right? Who already have, a high availability cluster set up, who already have redundancy and all of this stuff. Right, got to hook the newbies too, and that's where I think I've got this bit of a struggle, right? Like I feel like in the next little bit, as the meds that I'm on continue to help bring me down a little bit, and I mean that in a good way, I feel like I may be in a position where I can maybe start making some of that content, and I feel like I almost feel like that's a whole new channel, like an intro to self-hosting channel, like a basics of kind of thing, where I can introduce people at a slower pace, if I'm capable of doing that, without bombarding them with the 600 videos that I've already got on here. I feel like talking about the fundamentals of self-hosting, what it is, why we do it, those sorts of things. I kind of feel like that needs to be my second channel. And right. And that's kind of it. Arthur Martin says, newbies will come over a period of time, say 2 years. Your videos will all be waiting for them. Let's see. I have my family photos backed up. Everything else is balancing on a knife. Dude, I've been there. That's why I don't use Nextcloud. It's because I did that to myself, and it put a sour taste in my mouth about how I can have everything wrapped up into one app, and because I didn't have a good backup strategy in place, it was all gone. Like everything I'd put into Nextcloud for months and months and months and months was gone because I didn't have a good backup strategy for Nextcloud. Maybe some intro videos as a playlist that you can point people to if they want to know more, let's say Docker, before jumping into a video about it, right? I don't know. Because here's the problem, right? Because Moisho, I totally agree with what you're saying. The problem is that I have to play the game of YouTube. And if I release an intro, like a super basic intro to self-hosting, talking about what self-hosting is and why we do it, and that video, like my videos usually do, let's call it 10,000 views. I think that's fairly fair to say. I mean, 5 to 10,000 views. Like Pangolin did 60. That was kind of an outlier. Termix did 16, a bit of an outlier. But like if I go back to Tianji, Excalidraw, Proxmox Data Center Manager, those kinds of things, those did considerably more. But if let's say I release a video that's an intro to self-hosting on this channel, then and let's say it has 1,000 views, YouTube, being YouTube, will actually punish me for only getting 1,000 views because it's content that my audience isn't interested in. Because the core of my audience is, they know this information, so why would they watch it, right? Like I know that there are certain people, most of my audience only watches when I present something that is new to them. Most of my audience doesn't watch my content for me. That was a hard realization for me to make. I made several videos where I was kind of the center focal point of the content with like the studio as the backdrop for the content, or I was the focus of it, but this other technological thing was kind of the background of that. And those videos did very, very poorly because the reality is I'm not in my videos, when I do my video, like my tutorials or my vlogs or whatever, I'm not a super interesting person because I don't have, like, I do fine here because we're chatting, we're having a conversation, we're having a back and forth. If I don't have that, I tangent, and I'm aware of that. So I know a big chunk of my audience isn't watching my content for me. My big chunk of my audience is watching my content for my content and what I'm showing. So if I make an intro to self-hosting video that most of my audience is already familiar with, they're not going to watch it to support the channel, right? They're not going to watch it because they want to help out DB Tech. They're going to watch it because they want to they want to learn something new. And look, and Not Sheldon says, we watch it for the value of your knowledge and the effort you put into showcasing a product. And that's fair. And I love that. I appreciate that so much. But the reality is you guys are the minority, right? Like you just are. And that's something that I've had to come to terms with for a while, right? And I've come to terms with that. Like, I make the content that I think will do well, that I also enjoy. There's plenty of content out there that I should make because I know it will do well, but it's not a piece of content that I care about, right? It's not a service that I care about. It's not a service that I would use. So I'm not going to put the effort in to learn it because I know I'm going to learn it just long enough to make the video and then it's gone, right? And I've done videos like that and I hated the entire process. Some of those took me weeks to make. Like the Ophelia video that's on my channel that did really, really well, I think. Ophelia. Let's see. Yeah, Ophelia here. And that was 4 years ago. But yeah, that video did 122,000 views. I hated every second of recording that video. I hated it. I knew I was never going to use it. I didn't understand why people would use it. It's a great product. I understand that, but it's not something I would use. So I don't care. I don't find it interesting because I don't use it. So I feel like creating a series of videos that's like, hey, self-hosting is cool because wouldn't do well on this channel because, again, most of you guys are beyond that. You understand why self-hosting is cool. You understand why it's important, how it's useful. But I feel like if I made that video or that series of videos here, the 60 of you that are here right now might watch it, but the other, say 93,000 wouldn't. And as a result, and it might get some exposure from other places, but unless it brought in a whole bunch of new subscribers and views as a result, YouTube would actually punish me for creating an underperforming video, and it's dumb and I hate it. Let's see. I would watch the beginning of videos just to see if you're right, or to see if I'm learning something new. Even before I started creating my own thing, I watched your videos for exposure to software I'd never seen before. I watch your videos for things I do in my home lab that I understand, want to learn more of. I also do a lot of research with things that could be possible for Docker for my job. And I appreciate all of that. I genuinely do. Arthur Martins says, it makes sense to create a new YouTube channel. Then what name would you give it? I don't know. Like, this is all just me spitballing, and getting your guys' reaction in real time. Like, I've thought about it in the past. I've thought about doing these series of videos things, to bring self-hosting to more people. I don't know. Like it would involve a whole content strategy process, a branding process. So you're saying if you created another channel just for self-hosting? Oh, no. So fair, Borg. No. So what I meant to say, if I didn't say it clearly, and I probably didn't, is if I created an intro to self-hosting series on this channel and it didn't do well, YouTube would punish me for creating videos on this channel that didn't do well. Now, on the flip side of that, if I created and by not doing well, let's say I made a video that was let's just say I did a video that was an intro to self-hosting. They did 2,000 views. On this channel, it would get me punished. If I launched a new channel that was intro to self-hosting, that 2,000 views out the gate would get me rewarded, right? It's about it's a theory of relativity kind of thing, right? Like 2,000 views on a brand new channel is great. 2,000 views on a channel with almost 100,000 subscribers is bad, right? So it's got to be put into context. How big is the channel that got that many views, right? And it's a dumb thing that I have to consider with almost everything I do on YouTube. And I don't like having to play that game, but that's how it is now, because so many people come in and saturate the market with so many different types of content, which is good. Don't get me wrong, but now, you know, there's thousands of channels a day being created that are just dropping AI garbage because they've seen other people on here drop AI garbage. So now the site is being bombarded with AI garbage, and it sucks. Ben, let's see. Oh, right. Borg Swarm says, so let's name it DB Tech Back to Basics, right? Ben says, I've been working with YouTube's partner program. You know, I think I got accepted to that as well. And I've never actually done anything with it, and I probably should. The problem, but he's, I didn't realize that it uses that Shorts use a different algorithm. The problem that I have with Shorts is I can't short. I've done a couple of things here and there that shorted well. Let me actually go over here and look at my shorts. Let's see. I'll just show you this. There's nothing here. I think it'll be bad. Like, Home Assistant, automations did 3,000 views. 5 things you should know about self-hosting did, 4,000 views. I don't think it did anything for money. I don't care if you see this. 52 cents on 4,000 views and brought me 6 subscribers. I'm glad those 6 subscribers found me. But was, the couple of hours I put into that, what was the long-term gain on that? And that's the other stupid question I have to ask. How much effort can I put into something before it becomes not worth my time? And that's something I hate having to ask myself as well. Like this one, 45 seconds, Zima Blade with 16 terabytes with Casa OS on it. Again, 18,000 views. Not that one. Made me $1.86 and brought me 24 subscribers. Right? Like, so I understand that they are different. Like this one did 7,000 views. And netted me 11 subscribers and 39 cents. I put several hours, which I know, and that's a me issue, right? Let's see, Pingven. I did a short about Pingven. 14 subscribers and less than $1. And look, and it's not that I don't appreciate these views, but they're different views. They're valued differently, like Ben said. And right, like let's see. This one's done pretty well because so many people have had this issue. Brought 23,000 subscribers, was $1.84. Over on a long form video, this would have been at least 20 or 30 bucks, right? Which I know still isn't anything. But in fact, let me see. Let's go over here to videos. Let's sort. Let's find out what 20,000 views would do in long form. Some of these videos are really, really old, and that's why they've got so many views on them. Let's find kind of like somewhere in the 20,000 view range. There's 29. We're getting close. Let's take a look. 26. Peppermint. Okay, this one's 24,000 views. The problem is this video is 3 years old, right? So yeah, 24,000 views brought me $60 versus the 20,000 views on shorts that brought me $1.84. So it's trying to figure out what makes the most sense. And the reality of the situation is that I don't have any business acumen, right? Like I don't have a business mindset. Like I do fine creating content, but I don't know what best practices are. I don't know how to better monetize myself. I don't know how to communicate with companies and get better ad rates. I don't know how to do these things. And when I talk to, like I used to, in fact, I'll show you this. This is fun. When I used to get a lot of emails about, hey, let me edit your content, let me create your thumbnails, that sort of thing. I had to make this my thumbnail. I had to make this my email address. It's me plus I will not hire you for thumbnails or editing at dbtechreviews.com, because I would get these people like, oh, let me edit your thumbnails, let me do this, let me do that. And it's like, okay, well, let's talk about that. How much are you going to charge me to edit a 10-minute video? Oh, that's like $200. Because it's like, $10 to $20 a minute for them to edit. And it's not how long it takes them to edit, it's the end result of the video. So if the video is 10 minutes, it might be $100 or $200 depending on the editor. So I'm going to pay somebody $100 or $200 to edit a video that's going to net me $60. And look, maybe the production quality would go up and I would get more views and more subscribers, but with my current situation, with my home life, my family, my income, I can't risk the net loss to pay somebody, $200 to edit a 10-minute video. It fiscally doesn't make sense for me. It's not responsible for me to risk that much money. Ben says, I like your production quality just fine. And I appreciate that, but the problem is finding the time to not only find the content and make and record the video, but then edit it and keep it concise and keep it and make the best. So like I handle all of my own brand deals. I handle all of my own research. I handle all of my own writing. I handle my editing. I handle my social media. Like I handle all of these things, just me. And when I have talked to people about maybe hiring some of this stuff out, it's like, oh yeah, no, we can manage most of that for you for $1,500 a month. Cool. I don't make that on YouTube, right? Like my ad revenue for the last 28 days is less than $700, right? So it's me saying, here's $1,500 and hope that I make it back with the way they manage things, right? And it's this thing that I've always struggled with. I feel like if I found the right partner who could help me on a percentage basis, maybe things would get a lot better. But these people that want $1,000 or $2,000 up front, I don't have that, right? I don't have that. I can't pay them that. So I get stuck in this loop of, oh, I could hire you, but I can't afford it. So I'll keep doing all of this stuff. And so now again, I'm managing absolutely everything here. I'm doing the job of 5 or 6 people. And I can't afford to hire somebody else to do it for me. But so I'm kind of stuck in this situation that I don't know how to handle. Again, if I could find somebody who could help me manage this, who knew what they were doing for some sort of percentage, that might be worth considering. But right now, just paying a flat fee every month, I can't risk that amount of money on the hopes that maybe they do it right and they don't just take my $1,500 or $2,000 and do nothing for me. Because I've been part of like multi-channel networks who are like, oh, for like 30% of your income, we'll do all this stuff, which amounts to nothing in the end. And I feel like that's what I would get stuck with again. And I just I'm expecting DB Tech to buy my channel when he blows up and become the next Linus Tech Tips. No, look, dude, your channel is great. Like you're doing what I should be doing. Like genuinely, you you talk slowly, you explain things well. You're very calm and collected, and you're very on point, and you seem to be very organized. And of course, look, I understand that's you in that moment. I don't know you on a personal level. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but I need to dial it back a bit, right? So I'm stuck in this constant loop of I should be doing this, 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 but I can't find my grasping on any of that to make it work for me the way I'd like it to. And the reality is, early on in my channel, when I first started my channel, I was a much, much different person, and I was an absolutely trash human being. And so there's a bunch of people who will never subscribe to this channel who would have otherwise, but I was an awful, awful, awful human being. And despite, look, I can apologize all day long, and I've apologized for years for that, but there's no making up for what I did other than apologizing. And those people are gone, and they're not coming back. And so I just, I've put myself in this position, and I've got to figure out a new strategy to get there that won't cost me an arm and a leg to hire somebody to do it out the gate. So, it is what it is. Oh man. Let's see what's going on over here. Make sure I didn't miss anything, because that happens sometimes. So anyway, I've got, and here's the thing, right? Like, to kind of go back, like I mentioned earlier, like we talked about, I'm on new meds, I'm in a new therapy, whatever. And that will help, but I'm not quite there yet, right? Like I've still got a ways to go before I can consider making huge changes. Like, I think the next 2 videos that are coming out will do that. I genuinely do. Or at least be a start to a new presentation style that I'm going to try. It's very much just me doing what I do, but it's more concise. It's a bit slower. The video I'm almost done with, I think I recorded for 2 or 3 hours the other day to get 20 minutes of footage. And I'm still not done with that video. I've still got another bit of recording to do and editing and that sort of thing. But it's because I wrote out an entire script, and I would go through and I would read it. I'd read each section. I broke down each section in my recording process. And I'd be like, okay, well, I read that too fast. I need to slow down. So I'd get into it and I'd slow down and it'd be fine. And then I'd start speeding back up. And it's like, okay, no, I gotta slow down. I gotta redo that whole thing again. And then I'd be like, okay, that speed was perfect. And I'd go back and watch it, and the speed was perfect. But there was no emotion, man. I was just staring at the text, just reading it. So I'd go back and record it again. So I'm trying to retrain myself while I'm going through this process of getting my brain to slow down. And so I'm trying to do a lot of things all at once. And I think that's part of my problem, but there's all of these things kind of need to work together in tangent for them to make sense for what I'm trying to do. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I will consider these other videos and this other thing with the back to basics, or the intro to self-hosting or whatever, because I think there may be something there. But I think they're going to have to be very, not shorts, but I think they're going to have to be short videos, like, a 5-part series in choosing the right mini PC depending on your needs, or the right single board computer, or and I think there's a lot that could be said in those videos if I did it the right way. But yeah. I think I'm going to have to start wrapping this up. Like, I don't know, like I ate before getting on here, but I'm starting to get lightheaded. And I need to go check my blood pressure, which sounds like such an old man thing to say. But I'm starting to ramble. My brain's starting to get a little foggy. I love you guys and all of your support and all of the the information you're giving me here. And I'm going to take a lot of this into consideration, but yeah, I got to wrap this up, guys. I'm starting to slip. so again, thank you guys seriously for all of your support, for hanging out, for the likes, for the subscriptions. Thank you guys for all of that, for your support. I really do appreciate it. So I got to wrap this up, grab something to eat, check my blood pressure. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. If you're here in the States, it's a long holiday weekend. I hope you have a good time with that. If you're not, I hope your rest of your weekend goes well. And I will talk to you again here. I'll talk to you again here really soon if I can get those words out. Anyway, have a good one. I'll talk to you again real soon.